Hello and welcome to the STiKS. We are going to get Rage on the show, one of the hosts of our STiKS EU show. Because we're probably going to slaughter some of these EU teams, and we want someone who actually knows them to talk about it. So you can see the little British flag or whatever flag that is up in the corner.
Whatever flag that is.
It's irrelevant, honestly, if you think about
What
it.
if it moved? Like, what if it literally moved?
Yeah, any
That'd be
flag
dope.
that doesn't have stars and stripes is really irrelevant to me. I mean, I don't.
There you go. There you go. Off to a great start.
We also have Courage on the show, one of the casters for COD Champs. I'm gonna let him introduce himself in a moment and let us know how it felt when he knew he was going to be casting a chance. But before we do that, we have a special announcement today on the STiKS. We are doing another campaign for shirts, except we're not just doing T-shirts this time. We're also doing hoodies. Hopefully, Goalie has something to put on the screen. I don't know if he does, and he says he does. So we're going to be selling a white hoodie that is it. I mean, it just looks dope. If any of you bought the STiKS hoodie, the black one, when we did that one, you know that it's really good material. It lasts no matter how many times you wash it. Looks great, doesn't fade, all that kind of stuff. And so we have a white hoodie, and then we also have a blue shirt. It's something that you guys it was like the most requested thing that we did was to make a blue shirt. So we have a blue shirt, and I think this is going to last for 3 weeks. Is that right, Goalie? 3 weeks? 3 weeks? So it's going to last for 3 weeks. Make sure you guys follow the link that somebody is going to put in the chat so that you can go there and take a look at it and get your STiKS gear now. And of course, once you receive it, once the campaign is over, you'll get them. And then I want you guys to tweet at me so I can retweet like crazy, or just tweet at me when you've made your order. And maybe I'll just retweet that so that we can tell other people about it. Thank you guys for your support. And I think we sold 33 total last time, so we definitely want to beat that. Let's try to sell like 50, like shirts and hoodies. That would be pretty dope. So hopefully, yeah, Goalie's linking it in the chat. Make sure you guys pick yours up. So as we normally do with our intros on the show, each of us is going to go around. We're going to say our name, our affiliations in the Call of Duty community, and then what I want you guys to think about is the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to you at school. Now, you can do elementary all the way to high school, but the most embarrassing thing that's happened to you at
Ooh.
school. And before we do that round robin, of course, I want to give a shout out to the best producer on the STiKS. Pun is intended. Goalie TV. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And for those of you guys that don't know, I watch Goalie stream every night that he streams. I'm in there at least for like 20, 30 minutes, but more normally for like a couple hours. He plays CSGO, Call of Duty. Make sure to check out Goalie Stream. Click on his name when you see it in the chat. Follow him. Really good content, and he is pretty consistent about making his content on a weekly basis. He doesn't upload to YouTube, but he used to. So he's got old videos if you want to watch some old videos.
There you go.
And we, of course, want to give a shout out to G Fuel. Use code Kingdom for 10% off. And Scuff. Use code STiKS for 5% off of your Scuff gaming products. Nevertheless, let's get right into our show today. So I'm going to start with Landon, and then we're going to go to Courage, and then I will be the last one to say my name, affiliations, and most embarrassing thing that's happened to me in school.
All right, guys. My name is Landon, aka MLG Roster Mania. It really doesn't. You can just call me. I don't. Everyone asks me like, "What do you call yourself?" Just call me Landon. It's really easy. Anyway, I make YouTube videos occasionally. Been trying to get on the YouTube grind a little bit more. I do that. I also run a Twitter. I talk about Roster Mania news and also kind of personal. Besides that, I don't really do much. But anyway, regardless. Okay. So what was the question? Was
Most embarrassing thing that's happened to you at school.
Okay. So this was in elementary school. I want to say I was in the 4th grade. My school like has a thing where it's like weekly. It's like a weekly thing where you like dress up as different things. Like there's pajama day, there's all kinds of stuff. And they had cowboy day. And I decided to dress up like a cowboy. I wore the hat, I had the holster, I had a fake, gun with like the little orange thing on the end. And so I dressed up like one, and no one in the entire school did anything. And I was dressed like a cowboy for the entire day. The whole 7 hours that I was at school, I was just like a cowboy and got stared at the whole time.
That sucks.
And
What grade were you in?
Like 4th or 5th grade? I don't know. I was a banging cowboy though. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I don't know. I don't know. It was weird, and it was very embarrassing because everyone looked at me like I was crazy.
All right.
So that's it.
Courage.
Awesome. Yeah, well, thank you so much, Kingdom, for having me on the show. Glad to be here. I've watched many episodes of the STiKS in the past. If you don't know me, I am a Call of Duty commentator. I'm kind of a new face still. I started back in November. Really, though, I got my opportunities in getting involved in the scene a little bit back in the summer of this past year when I interned at the MLG offices in New York. I was on the ESR quite a lot then. Currently, I am a junior in college. That's my full-time gig. And then I kind of cast events when I get asked to. So I think one thing you wanted to bring up, Kingdom, was like what it felt like when I was able to commentate or when I got the offer to cast champs. It was pretty mind-blowing. I got like an email like 9:30 p.m. I was in a Skype call with people. I think I just started screaming and using certain expletives, and I realized that I'll be casting champs. I couldn't believe it because like 3.5 months prior, I had never casted a video game before. My first event was the AW Open in Columbus back in November. And then really I just stream way more after champs. I've been busy kind of making sure I actually pass my classes here since I've been doing so much for streaming and hitting the gym and YouTube and that type of stuff. Yeah, it's kind of important when you're a college student. So my YouTube, youtube.com/Courage the Gamer. I am just about to hit 800 subscribers. I started about a month and a half ago, and I'm going to upload 5 videos this weekend, one of each day that I'm in California for champs. So I hope to get some great content there. Then I stream at mlg.tv/courage. I do those streams normally 4 or 5 times a week. And then outside of that, just really a troll on Twitter and happy to be here. And then finally, my most embarrassing thing that happened to me in high school, I said this in one of my recent AMA videos that I put up, but it was lunchtime, and we all had laptops in my high school, and everyone played different Flash games. And I was playing games or whatever, and people, for some reason, took the ham off of our friend George's sandwich and started slamming it in different people's laptops. I don't ask me why. They basically put the ham in and then slam it shut. So like the ham oil would be everywhere. It was terrible. So they wound up realizing that I was the one getting the most angry about it, so they continued doing it to me. And after like 5 times of it happening, I said, all right, the next person who does this to my laptop, I looked around the table, the next person who slams ham on my laptop, I will punch in the face. I openly said that because I was getting quite frustrated. 5 minutes past nothing, 10 minutes past nothing. Finally, my friend Chris puts the ham in, slams it. So I stared at him for a second, punched him in the face a couple times. The vice principal came over. Yeah. The vice principal came over. The whole cafeteria is watching because like we started like going into like the other side of the cafeteria. This whole thing. Wound up not getting in any trouble because I literally only played video games in high school, and they realized I wasn't actually a bad kid, and it was kind of embarrassing because I whiffed like 4 out of my 6 punches. So that was really my spiel. I think that was like 4 minutes all about me, so I apologize there.
Wow.
I like that.
I feel well. Your friend probably took you seriously the next time you said,
yeah. No more ham. I swear, no more ham.
Dang. All right. Well, before I go, shout out to Hudson. Welcome to the STiKS fam, Hudson. Subs, put some hitches, some Kingdom Froze in the chat.
Goalie also
for
subscribed.
Hudson.
Goalie also subscribed. Yeah,
he wanted me.
He told me. Yeah, he told me
7
before the
months?
tweet, I'm going to subscribe during the show.
So, and I guess Goalie subscribed as well. Throw some more Kingdom Froze in the chat. 7 months in a row, Goalie's been subbed. I would hope so, because we'd have to have a conversation if not. But Goalie's actually subscribed to a number of Twitch channels. He's broadened my horizons. So my name is Kingdom Soldier. You guys know who I am. You've hopefully seen me before. I do some stuff on YouTube and some stuff on Twitter and some stuff on Twitch. And I, buy some shirts every once in a while, some hoodies maybe. My most embarrassing thing that happened in high school. See, this is hard because when I was in 5th grade, I peed in my pants when I went to my teacher wouldn't let me go to the bathroom. And when she finally did, by the time I got to the toilet, I was like doing this, like going crazy trying to unzip, and it just didn't happen. And I literally, no, I'm not doing that again later. And I literally peed on myself. And it really sucked because it was like this warm feeling. And you know when you got to go to the bathroom really bad and how good it feels when you actually go?
Oh, yeah.
So even though I was peeing on myself, I still had that like that moment of that bliss. Then that was followed by, holy crap, I'm in the bathroom at school and I just peed on myself. So instead of going back to my class, I went to the office of the school, and I told them, I was like, "Hey, I just peed in my pants. I have a sweater over my lap, but I can't go back to class like this." And I was actually kind of happy because the teacher kept telling me I couldn't go to the bathroom. She thought I was just trying to be like, I don't know what she was trying to do, but like my son even he gets they get cards in school, and if they
Yeah.
go to the bathroom, then it's not recess. They actually go down. So if they have a green, they go to yellow just because they went to the bathroom during regular class time. Like they take it really seriously. So back
Wow.
then, that was the teacher was like, "No, it's class time. You go to the bathroom at recess." And I was like, "I have to go really bad," and she didn't care. So peed on myself. And then another one was like and they ended up letting me go home. By the way, they let me go home and change my pants and come back to school.
What if they
But
wouldn't
I
have?
did. I wouldn't have went back to class. Even though I was in
Okay.
5th grade, I would have skipped or something. Like that was it was too embarrassing. But when I was in, I think junior high, I was in 7th grade or 8th grade. I did the splits, but I can't do the splits.
Oh
So
God.
I got stuck like in the splits. And this wasn't like in the gym. This was in a common area where students would walk past, and I'm like stuck, holding myself like in pain. And the nurse had to come, and they had to get me to stand up because I didn't want to move. It hurt so bad, and I don't
So
know how I did it.
you were
It was
like
like
in that position the whole time, like until someone came and got
pretty
you.
much, yeah, pretty
Okay.
much. Like I
Okay.
couldn't. I was, how you get hurt yourself sometimes, and you just don't want to move. Like
No,
it
I
hurt so
know.
bad that I didn't want to close my legs. I didn't want to fall over. I just kind of like was sitting there in pain, and people were walking past me like, "Dude, what are you doing?" I was like, just keep walking. And so finally the nurse came. She convinced me to get up. And it hurt so bad. I like pulled something, so I had to be out of school for a couple days. But yeah, it was it
It
was
scarred you for
interesting.
life, to say the
So
least.
yes, it scarred me for life. So that is my most embarrassing thing. Goalie, do you have a story that you want to tell before we go on? You have nothing
Hate himself.
embarrassing that
What
happened
is
to
that
you
voice?
in school.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do we need to take a commercial to get him in? Oh, go ahead. I don't care. You're the producer. Do what you want to do.
Do what you want
A
to
magical voice.
All right. I'm gonna let Landon kind of take over, and we're gonna talk before we get into the COD champs predictions and groups and stuff, which has been an eventful day on Twitter. If anybody's been watching, the groups have been a big discussion, which somehow I got tagged in one of the discussions. But we're going to talk briefly about the last week of the COD, or the last couple days of the COD League, and going into champs and all that kind of stuff.
So yeah, right now, I'm just gonna go and start with the first team. Right now, Optics leading 7-1. Okay. It's not really surprising. I'm not going to talk about Optic the whole time. Optic 7-1. The only match they've lost is the FaZe Red. Was their first match, I believe. So they're on like a 7, or no, actually, I don't remember. Anyway, the only match they lost was the FaZe Red. They're doing very well. A team that I want to point out that's actually tied for second is Justice. Kingdom's laughing, and I'm trying to keep a serious face. Justice is tied with Denial and Rise.
He put up the STiKS 1v1 overlay. He was like, he was putting different overlays for like different shows on the I'm sorry, Landon. Go ahead.
No, you're fine.
Justice is tied. You said Justice is tied for second?
Yes, yeah. They're tied for second with Denial and Rise. And I want to point out, I did not think that Justice would be playing this well, but Goalie actually pointed out something very notable. Like, all of their players are not going to champs. Like, they're all, they're like, I think they're all like basically underage.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. So they're all like going to be playing online. They're not going to be playing away. Like, they're going to have a lot of practice together. As well as that. Denial, not really a surprise. Rise actually in the top, pretty, they have a little bit of a new roster, but still a very good, very good job from them. A team that's not doing very well that I'm actually very surprised about is Envy. Currently 3-7. Envy is always it's either you have the good Envy or you have the bad side of Envy. I love Envy, but they're like, I don't know, it's this one or it's that one. I don't know which one we're getting, but apparently it's the bad one right now. And I think, honestly, speaking of roster mania, if they don't do well I think, honestly, a lot of teams will make roster changes. But if they don't do well, after COD champs, I definitely see them making a roster change, especially
for
when
sure.
they're doing this bad in the league right now. So, along with that, TCM I believe is 2-4. I don't know who they beat exactly. If anyone
No,
knows,
I know one of the
The
teams.
beat prof.
Prof and they beat
They beat
Phase Red.
Prophecy and AR.
AR. Okay.
AR, okay. So I didn't know they beat Prof. Who was on? It's so funny that, of course, we get front page and we're still trying to fix the overlay. It's all
I take
good.
all the credit. I take all the credit.
It's all Rage's fault.
Yeah,
This is
blame
what the
Rage.
EU does to North America to get revenge for us
no.
leaving. I understand. Like we like coffee, you like tea. We speak properly, you don't. I mean, I get it. It's,
Oh. This is how rushed I am. I haven't got a cup of tea. Like that's when you know. Like I physically ran. I ran to the point where I now have no cups of tea. So
no,
I'm kind of I'm in a depressed state at the
This
minute.
isn't
I'm not
good.
gonna lie. So yeah, if I get a bit like grumpy and a bit groggy, that's the reason why I'm tea deprived.
Well, your name is iRage, so we expect you to be grumpy.
Oh well, yeah, exactly. We're gonna see that later on, I'm sure.
Yeah, for sure. When we get a prediction.
So if Landon didn't they come into this week? Didn't Envy come into this week 1-5 or 1-7?
Yeah, they
And so now you said
definitely needed they definitely had to win, in my opinion, for like chemistry wise. You have to go into COD champs playing well. Like if you're going to champs in the league and you're not playing well, like that's automatically like a downer for your team. And I'm glad that they won because they definitely needed to. Because if you're they could have been 1-9. You know how crazy that would have been? Like if they would have had, that amount of pressure on them to do well.
Roster change.
Yeah,
Guaranteed.
exactly. I think if honestly, and this is just a bold prediction, if they don't place top 2, I 100% see them making a roster change.
I agree.
Oh, for sure. I think, I couldn't agree more with you. And I think the one thing that we were talking about the other day when we had our big casters call in preparation for the event with Envy, really, one thing we're seeing is, as we've said, the pacing issues. Merc and Nameless, much more defensive. Saints and Zuma, just kind of all out. Let's get aggressive. Let's make the plays happen. They're playmaker type players. But also something that I think we've noticed with them is just I don't see them as much as of a chemistry team. If you look and just kind of see how other teams interact with each other or just the bare bones friendships that they have, you don't really see that with that team. And obviously, I'm not saying I'm best friends with them or know their personal lives. For all I know, they all Skype together each night and read each other bed stories before bed. I don't know that. But what I do know is from social media and Twitter like that, I don't see that same bonding and love that you do see from other teams that are really kind of close and have that great chemistry.
It's like 2 duos together, like 2 separate duos, basically.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Well, so you're saying, in your opinion, that Nameless and Merc are a duo?
Well,
have they become that?
I just think their play style is more of a duo aspect. I mean, yes, they've been on the same team now for, a year together, so I think they've earned that mark of kind of becoming a duo, quote-unquote, just because they've been around together for so long. But just in their play styles of who you expect to be aggressive, who you expect to be defensive. I think that if Envy really wants to do big things here at Champs, I mean, we'll go into the predictions later on, but I just think that the thing that'll help them out is their veteran aspect and what we've seen from them at prior champs, obviously with the 2 straight second place placings. But I mean, we'll see what Envy shows up. As Landon said before, it's really just kind of a toss up there.
Yeah, I think hi Sean Slutzberg, how you doing, Slutzenberg? I think that the thing about a duo, in my opinion, is that they have to want to stay together, and we don't know. But we do know that Merc has said in the past that, everyone was off. There was a point where the Envy roster was going to be completely different, like when they were making that decision. And I think that Nameless and Merc, I don't know if they actually wanted to be together after all of this happened. I think that was the best roster possible. But I don't know if that was what Nameless desired. He may have desired that Merc is off the team and someone else is there. And Merc may have desired that Nameless was off the team and someone else is there. We don't really know. I don't know. I don't think it's the Kill a Mirror type of duo or the Scumpy Nade Shot type of duo that have had their ups and downs, but they love playing together, because they've learned how to win together finally. But
could you see Envy dropping, or not dropping, but trading or releasing Merc? Or do you think it's that's the one player they want to keep? I've seen people say
he's not.
I know he's not Envy's technically nade shot, but do you see him stay? I think he's played pretty consistent for the moment. I know he hasn't had his best moments, but I mean I see him doing well more than a lot of people. And shout out to Appalled
Sub.
GG. I think he subbed.
Welcome to the STiKS fan. I like, to be honest with you, Landon. I think a team like Envy, especially with what their CS team is doing. I mean, these dudes are winning everything. Like, I don't think consistently mediocre is going to be acceptable for them. I don't think it is right now. I don't think Merc himself would say that he's okay with the way he's been playing consistently. I think he would want,
I'm just reading from like. Go ahead. I was just.
No, I just feel like at this point for Envy, I think you just brought up a great point there, Kingdom, with kind of what we've been seeing out of Hastro and the Envy organization out of late. It's kind of just like we're making moves sort of thing. And I feel like after Champs, we could see a full roster wipe. We could see them build a team, for all we know, around Zuma, just one player, and kind of build it from there. What we saw from Rise was after they didn't qualify North American Championships, they said, we're wiping the roster and we're building a team around Chino. And that was kind of the mindset they had, and they wanted to pick the players to bounce off of each other and excel to make sure that they had the best team possible. I really do think that's an option for Envy, especially now that Merc's been on the team for so long, Nameless has been on the team for so long. Maybe it is time for a fresh face. Maybe it is time for that scary Envy to come back. You know, as you said, the CSGO Envy, people take them automatically going to the finals most times of these tournaments because they're just so good and they have that prestigious backing, where right now I don't think anybody really can say they have Envy in their top 3 for champs, if I'm being quite honest.
Right. Yeah, you're being very honest. I mean, that's I don't think any of us do. I don't think anybody in the chat does. And let me say this. I love Envy, love the organization, love what Hastro's doing with the organization. I really, 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 Merc is probably one of my most respected pro players that there is, but it's also because of his honesty. When Merc plays bad, he doesn't say, well, my teammates didn't or my team didn't. He says, this was one of my worst events. I played bad.
Sure.
I wouldn't be surprised if the team wanted to drop me. Like, he's very open about that kind of stuff. I don't know how we ended up on this Envy conversation. We're supposed to be talking about League Season 2. But anyway, was there anything else about the league that we needed to mention, Landon?
Not really. Not really, no.
So Optic is 7-1.
TCM.
Well, I mean...
TCM. TCM.
I mean...
TCM.
I mean, they're ninth. They're in ninth place.
Courtesy clap.
Golf clap.
They beat a couple.
At the end of the day, he won a game. He won more than one game. So
that's true.
I'm proud. They're doing better than I expected.
They're doing better than Prom and Envy. So there you go.
That's unfortunate.
Exactly.
That's
so is this where I just like drop the mic and then just walk away? Point proven. Point proven.
That's when you drink a cup of tea and you're just like.
Well, don't remind me about the lack of tea.
The point will be proven when Epsilon or TCM, if they get top 3 this year. This weekend.
They'll win both somehow.
Whoa. They're both gonna win champs. All right.
They're both gonna win champs.
Champions.
They're gonna share the trophy. All right. The $200,000 each. I see what you're doing there. That could work. All right, we're gonna take a quick commercial break, guys. When we come back, we're gonna go straight to COD Champs. We're gonna talk about the groups. We're gonna walk through each and every one of them, and we're gonna talk a little bit, of course, about the controversy and drama that's on Twitter today about the groups with OG and Denial not getting what they were basically told they were going to get, which is no NA teams in their pools. Then we're also going to predict, and I made kind of a fake bracket based on Landon helped me choose. I'm putting that out there now.
Thank you.
I made up a fake potential bracket coming out of group play, and I'm going to make these guys predict who would win if the bracket came out that way. So we'll see you guys on the other side of 60 seconds. Peace. And we are live. Hello and welcome back to the STiKS. If you missed the beginning of the show, we launched another apparel campaign. For the next 3 weeks, we will be selling a white hoodie and what Rage is wearing a black one, a white hoodie that's like that, and a navy blue or like, it's not really navy, just blue. I'm just going to say it's the STiKS blue.
We made a color.
Yeah,
it's in the Crayola box.
There you go.
STiKS.
If you go to your local Walmart, Kmart, or Safeway,
Asda, keep it European.
Find I don't even know what you're talking about. You will find STiKS blue colored crayon just by itself for sale. Now we're selling both of those. You can see them on the screen, and we're selling them for the next 3 weeks. So make sure you guys get one and tweet at me when you do, so that I can retweet and say thank you. You're awesome. All right, so let's look at these pools real quick. I'm gonna walk through them, and I am on cod.esportspedia.com looking at these pools, and so. Well, let's walk through them one by one. I'm not going to make us predict right. Well, let's just go ahead and predict right now. Let's look at the pools and we're going to do some predictions. So, Group A, Optic Gaming, Rapid, Vitality, and Orbit. I'll start with Landon. Who's the one and who's last?
Okay, I'm definitely gonna say Optic Gaming taking this pool. You know,
Right.
I don't think they're gonna. Yeah. Whew. Sorry, guys. Don't want to make anyone mad. I'm gonna take Optic. I'm gonna say Orbit. I know a little bit about Vitality. I don't know anything about Rapid, to be honest with you. I'm not gonna, say something I'm not. But I'm gonna say Orbit. I think Orbit's a pretty good team. I know a couple of their players. Don't ask me who they are, but I know that they're an okay team. So I'm gonna say Optic in the first seed and Orbit coming in second in that pool.
Yeah, I wonder why. So, I mean, we're going to end up mentioning this anyway, but the bracket, the way they did it is that we have 2 EU teams that are placed with this number 1, and they're both like, one of them is 5 through 8 from regionals, and the other one is 9 through 14 from regionals for the EU. And then they have a 9 through 12 NA team with them in that bracket. So this is a really interesting bracket. I think we're all going to be obvious about Optic making it out. Does anybody, to make this an easy bracket, since it's an easy bracket, does anybody see Orbit not being the number 2 seed in this bracket?
I do.
Oh God, you're gonna go with every EU team. Oh, geez. Here we go. Dude. It's gonna be like teams that have no chances of winning. I think they've got
it. Damn it! He's found my plan.
Epsilon versus TCM in the grand final.
Yeah.
No, but isn't Orbit? Is it Orbit the Swedish team or the NA team?
This is Orbit
the NA team.
Orbit is the
in that case, no, they're bottom. No, I have a feeling that NXG.
Wow, Ray.
I'm so sorry if I'm too much of this, but I have a feeling that the Italians NXG are gonna kind of surprise a lot of people. I mean, a lot of that roster was there last year and the year before. I believe a couple of them actually played with Swanee last year, and I think they placed really high. I think it was top 8 off the top of my head. Not really sure on my facts, but I'm pretty sure it's around top 8. So, it's NXG is the name. Oh, COD Sportspedia, quick! Just like no, I genuinely can't remember off the top of my head, but I'm pretty certain the team was Swanee. And from what I can remember, Swanee literally just like sat in the anchor position and was a statue and just said, "Jump on the objective. I've got spawns." But I have a feeling that they're going to surprise a few, especially considering that they are the Italian team. So yeah, they've kind of got a lot of pressure on their shoulders being known as the Italian team, but they're very good from what I've heard on like Twitter and from what I've seen as well at the regionals. They did impress me a little bit. They can actually play uplink, what is something European teams can't do. So yeah, already they're ticking boxes.
Yeah, if we were kicking the satellite drone, EU teams
would win.
They would 100%. They would have a much better
EU teams are
Goal!
Gola!
3-pointer would be kicking it through from across the map. You get a 3-pointer. So Vitality, of course, everybody's predicting, especially they lost Gotaga. He's not playing with them in the tournament, and he switched teams. He announced it weeks ago, and then said, "I'm not even going to play with them." Even now, the great irony would be if Vitality pulls off an upset, beats Optic Gaming, gets the 2 seed, and then wins. Like, even if they win $30,000, I would laugh at Gotaga if I were them. I would be like, ha 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 ha.
I have a genius idea. Carry on, Courage.
Oh no, I was just gonna say you never know. That might be all the motivation of Gotaga leaving them might fuel these guys. Sure. I don't know. I'm a big believer in momentum and getting vengeance, and maybe we'll see that. Who knows?
agree.
From what I believe, the player who they've actually picked up as Guitar's replacement is Oxygen. Oxygen's obviously quite a well-known French caster, and he's also like I think he's in charge of like Deserto France or something. So sorry, not Deserto
He
France,
works at
Scuff
Scuff,
France.
France.
Yeah. So what I'm thinking is, he sabotages Optic Scuffs, send them over some brand new Scuffs, what apparently don't work. Then all of a sudden Optic have Scuffs that don't work. Vitality win
He
the
doesn't,
game.
he doesn't have to
Job's
mess
a
with
good
Crim
one.
Sixes. It's already messed up.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like
Exactly.
Conspiracy
It's just like they're just walking into walls and just like, what's going on with our controllers? And meanwhile, Vitality are triple capping. Well, not triple capping them. What am I going? They're just 250 pointing them. I am not in the right mindset right now.
This isn't Ghost. Right?
No,
get your team.
I think
Carry on.
I think this group is pretty. I think we've hit the nail on the head with it. I don't see how Optic Gaming drops a match here. I mean, I think if anything they'll lose maybe one map, maybe two maps, but there's no way they'll lose. They'll lose the match here.
Maps, I'll be surprised.
Yeah, no, I think that Optic Gaming will take one. Orbit will be second. Sin, Twiz, Lawless, and Accuracy on this team. I casted some of their games at North American Champs. Twiz hit one of the craziest stun grenades on Retreat CTF to close out one of those games to make sure it didn't go into OT. Sinful is kind of a player that can either have his amazingly incredible games or really just poor performances and kind of bring down his team. He reminds me a lot of Goonjar. There was some of those games where he dropped 48 kills and at NA Champs, but unfortunately not all the focus was on Orbit, so you didn't see it all over Twitter. But he definitely had some great performances there. And then obviously Lawless and Accuracy, two kind of young gun players who I think are going to really show up here. Outside of that, Vitality, I think will get third, and Rapid, unfortunately, I think they'll just fall short up there at fourth and kind of have their COD champs front-ended.
They'll both be out, and I think Orbit, for anybody that watches basketball, they're like the Memphis Grizzlies of MLG. Like they don't get a lot of airtime.
Yeah.
Well, they just get a lot of airtime. Nobody sees them. They don't get talked about because they're in a league with the Lakers and the Clippers and the Spurs, and they just don't get a lot of airtime in the Western Conference, even though they're doing good. They're like third in the league right now. So, all right. So Group B, and this is by the way, before we go on, a little bit of controversy is that this group and the second group that has Denial in it as the number one seed, there was information that came out at regionals or before regionals and during that said the top two teams from regionals, that their benefit or whatever was going to be that they didn't have any other NA teams in their bracket. So here's there's a graphic that I gave Goalie that you guys can see to put on the screen that says how they selected A through H, how they selected the actual brackets. And so, what'd you say? What? Oh, I can give it to you. I have it up on my computer right now. 1 second. Let me give this to Goalie so he can post it for you guys.
Meanwhile, as a transition, we can just talk about TCM winning champs with Epsilon coming second.
Oh God! Oh.
All right. So it looks like the way they chose is that they gave more seeding power to the APAC teams that were 1 and 2 over the NA teams that were 9 through 12. So basically, they said that number 1 and 2 from APAC were a higher seed or should have been with lower teams than 9 through 12 in the NA. And I think, although Rage is not going to like this conversation, but I think that somewhere along the line we have to accept the fact, which is why we have 14 teams from the NA in the tournament. We have to accept the fact that that most of the NA teams, these top 14 that made it in, most of these 14 teams are better than a lot of even some of the top 4 teams in these other countries or top 3 teams. Now, Epsilon, TCM, there's teams that are really good. Even some of the APAC teams, the Brazilian team, some of these teams are good. Mind Freak, really good. But when you look at the way that they did this, they should have just taken 1 and 2 from APAC and put them up in bracket 1 and 2 so that they would have kept kind of that commitment. And then Envy and ON would have had, Prophecy and Orbit in their brackets instead of Optic and Denial having Prophecy and Orbit in their brackets. That's just, I think it would have been an easy switch, but I can see why they did it. They're just basically saying, well, this is a 1 and 2 seed. They should be, they shouldn't be with the 1 and 2 seed from North America. That doesn't make any sense. And I guess, that's the way they did it. I don't know your guys' opinion on it. I know that it was a big topic on Twitter today. But I wanted to kind of get your guys' opinion on how they did it and if you think it's going to even have an impact on any of the outcome here as we talk about Group B.
I mean, I saw a lot of the outrage there. I'm someone who, I think someone just said kind of show up and play and win. The teams that placed first and second and really high up in North America, honestly, should be able to push through these teams that they're going to be facing. In regards to the different weighting and seeding, I think that the NA teams probably should have been switched up and moved around. But at the end of the day, I think we'll still see the right teams move on. Now, when we get to the groups of death, quote unquote, Group H, and there was one more also that I think a lot of people have been talking about. I mean, we'll kind of discuss and break that down then. But either way, we'll see the best teams that show up are going to be the best teams that move on.
I agree with you 100%. I think the only changes that are going to be made is these 1 and 2 seeds. That could have an impact because Prophecy will probably beat. Like let's talk about Group B. So Group B is Denial, Hyper, Clarity, and Prophecy. So if Prophecy beats Hyper and Clarity and pulls an upset on Denial, they're number 1.
Yeah.
If Denial beats Prophecy and Clarity but gets upset by Hyper, they could end up number 2. It really, I can understand the Denial CEO Robbie and Clayster tweeted out. Clayster only tweeted once. He didn't really complain. He just mentioned it, and Denial CEO ran off with it, and everybody else got involved. Fizzerp, Killa, Nameless, JCap, everybody was in the conversation about it. And this is the pool where I think it matters. In the Optic Gaming pool, they're gonna win no matter what. They're gonna win their bracket. If you put Denial, FaZe Red, and FaZe Black in their bracket, in my opinion, they'd still win the pool. They'd still come out on top as number 1. So I think the only reason why in this bracket it could matter is because yes, I would say Denial and Prophecy are gonna be 1 and 2, but it may make a difference for them who's 1 and who's 2 based on the first round of bracket play. So let me go around to you guys and ask who is going to get the number 1 seed in this pool and who's going to get the number 2 seed. And I'll start with Rage. Because he has no idea about NA teams.
I guess, Denial's obviously... Look at the past performance of Denial. It'll be a no-brainer. At least I'm hoping it's going to be a no-brainer that they're going to be going through. Looking through the group now, let me just have a look at it. I've got to say... Prophecy, I'm going to like this, but I'm going to say Hyper Games.
Oh, you oh my god.
So you're saying Hyper Games over Ricky, Imbos, Mochilla, and Classic?
Yeah, you know what? Yeah.
Woo, God, woo.
Wait.
No, I'm Ricky News.
I'm not going to put you on the spot. I'm not going to put you on the spot, but can you name one of the players on Hyper?
Maxime.
Dang it.
He got one.
Thank God you didn't ask for 2.
He is the captain. He is the captain of the team. All right, Courage, what are your thoughts? Who's going to get 1 and 2? And who's 1 and who's 2?
So I marked down that I had Denial getting first and Prophecy getting second. Now, the only way I can really see that changing is, are we going to see the Clayster that played like a madman at North America Championship? If he doesn't, then possibly we could see Prophecy take out first. I think that if it goes 5 games, I think Prophecy takes it. I still believe in this team in Search and Destroy. I love the combination of Ricky and Bose. And also, this team just has a pickup feel to it, in my eyes. And we've seen time and time again, Bose just excels with teams made out of thin air. Synergy at Orlando. That team kind of just came out of nowhere. I think that this is a squad that we could definitely see do well. I don't see how Hyper Games gets to where they want to go. I'm looking at some of their stats here, and they wound up losing 3-1 to Menace there to get knocked out of the quarterfinals at the EU Championships. I'll be honest, I don't know much outside of that about this team, but I don't really see them hanging with the likes of Prophecy. I think Denial gets through. I think Prophecy gets through, and that's really it.
Landon?
I definitely have Denial and Prophecy moving through. To be honest, I think it's going to come down to the matchup of Denial versus Prof. Whoever takes this pool, I think whoever wins that game between each other will have the first seed. So if Denial beats Prof, their first seed. If Prof beats Denial, their first seed. So I think That's what it'll come down to. I agree with Mr. Dunlop, and I think I think that if we see Clay like how he played last event, no doubt, I think Denial can take this pool in the first seed. But Mr. 40 Bomb Bose, if he has anything to say about it, I think it's definitely going to come down to that matchup based on previously how they've done. I honestly I can't not choose Denial, so I'm choosing Denial as the first seed and Prof as second. Yeah.
Is there anybody in this tournament, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, is there anybody in this tournament who probably, in their mind, has more to prove than Clayster? I mean, this dude was dropped from Complexity, and then they just went on to keep winning. Then he's dropped from Optic, and in both instances, he didn't really understand why he was being dropped. He was actually told with Optic, they went back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and then he gets dropped, and then they start winning. You know, they're having one of the best years ever since Modern Warfare 3. And is Clayster, like, is there some fire in him that's like, I'm going to go win this tournament to prove to both of these teams and everyone else that I belong on one of the top teams in this esport?
I think the first thing is, I think Clayster, everyone knows he's that player that brings hype to your team. You know what you're going to get out of him. You know you're going to get a dominant AR and just someone who can always just go off at any given time. But to kind of switch this question up, I think the people that need to prove themselves more is honestly the rest of the world outside of North America. And it sounds weird to say, but it's this game has always been dominated by the North American region. And currently, right now, you have some of the teams boot camping here in North America a little bit early prior to champs starting. But I mean, Rage, you can kind of talk on this more, but a lot of people have regarded this Epsilon team as one of the strongest you can form at the moment. I know people have been kind of questioning, is that fourth really the best for them or things along those lines. TCM looking really strong as well. And Aware, I can never count out PD because, I mean, just look what they did back getting third at Anaheim this past year. And then in regards to the Australian teams, people have been hyping up Mind Freak so much, top 8, top 8, top 8. I think this is really the tournament where these teams need to break through and really make a name for themselves. I do have 5 teams that are not from North America moving on into the bracket stages, and we'll kind of talk about them more later on. But yeah, outside of really players, I think that the entire rest of the world needs to make a statement here in this tournament.
If you have 5, then that means in the next 6 groups, you have 5 teams from the EU coming out, or from somewhere else in the world. Oh well, let's get to Group C then. I want to see where this is at. Like I want to know who you're talking about. So, Group C is FaZe Red. Both of the FABE esports teams ended up in the same pool, and I can 90% guarantee that only one of them, if one makes it forward, it's going to only be one. The 2 of them aren't going to make it. So, unfortunately, they ended up in the same. They got to play against each other. It's going to be interesting. That'd be like Optic Gaming and Optic Nation in the same pool to start out, or FaZe Red and FaZe Black. But they don't even really like each other, so they'd probably want to be in the same pool. So FaZe Red, FABE All-Stars, and FABE DE, and then Automatic Reload. So let me start with Landon. We'll go Courage last, because I have a feeling he's going to throw a curveball and say one of these FABE teams is going to make it. Let's go with Landon. Who makes it out of this Group C?
Of course, I'm America. I think I saw a little bit of FABE All-Stars play, and they played pretty well. I'm not going to lie. I think AR is a really strong team. I think that they have what it takes to come out of this pool, and I actually have them in the first seed over FaZe Red. I think that FaZe Red will start off very slow. I think they'll eventually pick it up. But I think we might actually see AR beat FaZe Red possibly, or something might happen. I don't know. I think we'll see AR come out of this pool, or this Group C, with the first seed and FaZe Red coming in second. I definitely do not see FaZe Red not coming in one of these top 2 spots. I think they're incredibly strong. I just think they'll start off a little bit slow, whoever they play, whoever that may be. I don't know the order and whatnot. But
okay. Rage?
FaZe Red. Surprise, surprise. It's obviously going to top the group, I believe. And this is where it's a battle between the FaBes, because, I'm going to have to say a European team. And, looking at the players, I believe FABE All-Stars has LXT on it. LXT is a really, really talented English player. So I really want to lean towards that side. But DE are just kind of like this I feel as teams go through a honeymoon period, and I feel as if DE are kind of going through that period right now. I mean, they placed extremely well in regionals, and two of the players, I think it's Kivy and Gunnelly, I kind of made a note of it, and it's really horribly handwritten, but I believe Kivy and Gunnelly actually teamed together Champs Black Ops 2. They didn't team together for Ghosts and Champs together. They're kind of like a duo then. And so I'm kind of expecting that teamwork to go on. Their two teammates are really weird. I think between the two players who, other than Kiwi and Gunnelly, I believe they've only actually played like one LAN between them or something stupid like that. So they're really, really inexperienced. So I feel as if that the whole event of it being obviously the World Championships might get to them psychologically and they might choke and so on and so forth. But then, you know, we've seen it with Miracles last year where he kind of came out of nowhere. Well, not Black Ops 2. 2 years ago, you know. How it kind of came away like out of nowhere and just like
last year was Study.
Yeah, exactly. There we go. There's always those players who do it, and I feel as if, you know, one, if not both of these players on this FABE DE roster can be that player this year. So I'm kind of, you know, they're going to be one of the dark horses of the competition. I feel who are just going to kind of sneak in there, surprise a lot of people, and hopefully, you know, Team EU, let's go.
All right, before we go to Courage, I'm going to say for sure FaZe Red. I mean, that's a guarantee. Now, which are both of these teams from Germany? Like All-Stars and...
No.
Which one's from Germany?
One from Germany is DE.
Yeah.
Is DE.
Like Deutschland, or I don't know how you say it.
So, you probably heard that. Like,
but I believe,
good effort, though, Landon. A for effort.
Thank you. First thing I've ever got. Wow.
That should have been your most embarrassing school story. No A's.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to say FaZe Red, and then I think DE might make it. I think it's going to come down to the game between AR and whichever one of these FABE teams is better. I think it's the DE team. I don't remember which one I'm thinking of, but you guys said Germany is DE. I think that it's going to come down to their game between them and AR, but I do know that Burns, whatever you want to call him, Modern Warfare 3 free-for-all winner,
champion,
you know, free Jeep or whatever he won. I honestly believe he is on a mission to play. I think him and Apathy are in the same boat. Like, they get overlooked a lot by top teams when they're available, and they both want to prove something. That's why Apathy's been playing out of his freaking mind ever since regionals. And it's a hard choice, but I'm going to go with FaZe Red and FABE D with the upset.
Ooh.
Courage.
Repping.
All right.
Repping.
Well, the moment you've all been waiting for. What's my insane prediction is FaZe Red and automatic reload. This is not one of the groups where I have a European team moving on. This is one of the groups that I thought so much about because I'm gonna be honest with you, I do not have all-stars at all in the equation here. It does go between Fab Germany and automatic reload. FaZe Red moves on. I think Landon said they might start off slow. Slasher is an absolute... I don't even know that face I just made. Someone's probably going to gif it where I just shook my head like that and like spaz because he's way too good at this game. And the caster call we had the other day, multiple people regarding Parasite as one of the best, if not the best, search and destroy player in the game. And then, I mean, you have Aches. If you think he's not going to show up at Champs, then you might as well just wear a potato on your head. And then... Really, I think they move on easily first seed. And then Automatic Reload and Fab Germany. Automatic Reload burns top 15 KD, if I'm not mistaken, at Orlando. I think he's going to really need to step up for the team. And then Anticity did very well in the league there in Season 1 with, a 1.1 KD. But we also saw, as you guys mentioned with Fab Germany, land and experience. And Anticity, this is going to be his real first go-around here. We saw one of the biggest blunders at North American Championships was that Biolab CTF, I believe, or uplink, where he stomped on his teammate's head at top. Eskies missed the throw and threw it out of the map. It was absolutely horribly played. It looked like Maven was playing, honestly, at that time. So, I mean, and so you have that aspect, right, where you have the inexperience for Anticity, but then on Germany's side, which was just mentioned before by Rage, you have between Cracks and Bullet, they've only attended like one LAN event. Like, this is Crack's first time ever being at a major LAN. But then Kiwi has been playing out of his mind. He's been a big talk of, he's got to basically carry the squad here. But unfortunately for me, I think that automatic reload is going to take this one. Realistically, though, Germany can definitely give it a great shot. That's DE. They lost 3-1 to Epsilon there at EU Championships, and really they won the first hardpoint, which is pretty crazy to take out Epsilon in the hardpoint. But unfortunately for me, I think automatic reload's going to take that series 3-1, and that's really going to put them in that second spot.
Yeah, and now I'm seeing how your thing works. You just have an EU person in the next 5 brackets, but that makes it actually makes sense now that I'm looking at the brackets themselves. So I know I was worried for a second. By the way, Rage, I just got tweeted at. This guy says,
no.
"How did iRage just refill his glass of juice without moving? Mind blown. LOL." Did you refill a glass of juice without moving
He's
from where you're
that
at?
tall. He's actually that tall.
Oh, you just did it
Mind
again.
blown, guys. Mind blown.
He's sitting
I'm here
in
next
Totally
week.
not 2 cups.
His legs went to his kitchen, poured the glass, and
He has
That's
go-go
all
gadget
okay.
arms. That's his
It's a
go-go
common
gadget
it's like-
misconception that I'm really tall, when in truth I'm only like
Wait.
5
I
foot.
figured it out. You live in a studio apartment, and your kitchen sink is right next to you, and the fridge is on the other side.
I wish. I wouldn't
He's
move
live
from
from
the
his
computer
kitchen.
if that was the same.
that behind him isn't a closet. It's his bed that pulls out of the wall because he's got so little. That's how.
That is a huge refrigerator. He just grabbing stuff off the shelves like.
He's in a
I'm gonna
refrigerator.
ruin
Oh,
the
I
illusion.
got
I'm
it.
gonna ruin the illusion.
Okay.
I'm ruining the illusion.
Oh no.
I'm sorry.
Oh, 2 glasses. You're the real
I'm
MVP
sorry.
for that, though.
Well,
That
I
is
came
smart.
prepared. I was like, what takes longer, filling up 2 glasses or boiling a kettle for a cup of tea? And I was like, 2 glasses. Do it.
What
Just
is
do it
that
straight
drink, by the way? Hitch is asking
away.
what
It's
that
like
is.
juice. It's like juice or something. It's just like orange juice, cordial
Probably-
with water.
Looks
Well,
like
that's a thing in America. I think that's
What is
that must be a thing in like America,
Apple
right?
juice,
You,
orange
you,
juice.
you do have like it's orange
Grape
juice, I think. Wait, one sec.
That's not orange.
That is like green. It's like yellow.
If that's your orange juice, then I'm never going to Europe. I'm never going.
Okay, it's more like a mango juice. To be fair, it's more mango.
What does it say on the
Do you have-
box? Like you have like a.
I don't have the
like a
box
carton?
because I don't live in my
Like-
kitchen.
Guys, forget the champs pools. We're talking juices here on the sticks
Juice
today.
top. Juice top.
Oh,
No,
man.
like-
That was awesome. All right.
Do you guys
Next,
have like cordial?
we have what?
What?
Cordial. Surely you must have that in America.
Crystal
No.
Light? Like, is that that's what?
Kool-Aid, I think.
No, right. It's a thing where like it's flavoring, but it's incredibly like concentrated. So you can
That's
only
Kool-Aid.
put about like you can only put like that much into it, and then you fill the rest with water, and
It's
then like it
Crystal Light.
tastes.
Powder.
No, it's not powder. It's like it's just extremely strong like
What?
flavor.
Like actual liquid? That
It's
you
like-
just-
it's
Americans
Mia?
are weird, man.
All right, we're weird. Like, all right.
All right, so let's move on to the next pool because Rage is confusing me and himself. All right, Group D. This is the next 2 pools are the lucky pools that were supposed to go to Optic Gaming and Denial, where they have the EU teams. But the good thing is, this is almost guaranteed. Well, it is pretty much guaranteed that a team that's not a North American team is going to make it, which is why I think it's good that there's 14 NA teams. Because think about it, if there was 16 and there's 8 pools, you could technically have just a North American COD champs,
Sweet.
and it would be
Oh, yeah.
all North American. Group H really sucks because it's going to ruin the dream of, I think, TCM and Epsilon making it into group play, but we'll see. I'm sure Rage's predictions, he hasn't
Spoilers.
looked yet. He's about to flip out. So, Group D. Optic Nation, Gamers 2, SSOF, and Exile. I'll say my prediction right off the bat. I think Optic Nation and Exile are going to take it. SSOF is going to probably get last. Gamers 2 will beat them, and maybe if Gamers 2 can pick up a win against Exile, they'll win, but it's going to come down, in my opinion, between Gamers 2 and Exile. I think Optic Nation will go 3-0 in this pool, and I'm going to go to Courage first. Give us your predictions for Group D.
I think you hit the nail on the head there. But I think that it's going to be Optic Nation and Exile 5. A lot of people have been saying Exile 5 not as strong as last year. It's got to Chilean, Damage, and Fate. A lot of people, though, have been talking about Fate and how he's this player who is now finally 18 or able to attend a champs and is really putting everything he's got into it. So I'm excited to see kind of where he goes with this team. Search and Destroy is really that's what carried him last year as the T1 Daughters. They need to use it to their advantage this year again, Search and Destroy. But it also is very different. It's not as here we go. It's this way now in this game. You need to watch every angle at every time. To be honest, you never know when you're playing Terrace when someone's going to pop overclock, overcharged, and flood through the B side of the map and then be flanking you when you're trying to push bedroom at bottom A. Like you never know when that flank is going to get in under like 12 seconds. Where that was not a thing in Ghosts. Unfortunately, on Octane, we didn't see those flanks happen unless you're Killa or Fizzup running through the middle of the map with smokes. So I don't see how. Exile T1 doesn't move on. Gamers 2, I think the Spanish team has the best shot of kind of pushing for themselves and making a name for themselves. They're going to need their player Methods, who's one of their Slayers, to really go off. He had a 2.57 KD ratio in CTF at Champs, which I know was probably like 3 maps, but I like stats. And then he had an overall 1.33. But really, I just
3 maps is good.
Oh yeah, no, he definitely was showing off his skill there, but. They wound up getting 3-0'd to Aware to get taken out in the round of 16. So I don't see really how they move on. So there's my predictions: Optic Nation and Exile 5.
Landon?
Yeah, I definitely have Optic Nation moving through. Gamers 2, I think, will be honestly the only competition to Exile. Like we said, like that was kind of like the old T1. I mean, not all the players, but I remember Damage. Damage, a very good player. I'm not really sure anything about SSOF Gaming. I don't really know too much about them. I think, are they from Brazil? Is that correct?
Brazil,
Am I wrong? Okay. So, yeah, I watched a little bit of the qualifiers for them, but honestly, I think Exile is a really strong team. I think it'll come down to, like I said, Gamers 2 versus them. I think it'll be Exile, and I think Optic Nation will have the 1 and Exile coming in the second. So that's as far as I'm going to go into
Yeah.
it.
In all honesty, I'm just going to say Optic Nation wins and the 3 of them to finish as last, because I genuinely have no idea, because Optic Nation, it's a given. They're going to win. They're going to make the 9 rings happen. I'm calling it.
Wow.
You think they're going to win the whole event?
Well, other than TCM and Epsilon, they'll come third.
What about Optic Gaming?
They'll be lucky if they make it out of groups. I'm not going to lie.
Oh, my God.
I'm joking.
I'll be back.
I'm joking. I'm not that delusional. No, I'm joking. I'm just slightly tea deprived. That's all it is. No, but obviously,
so
Optic Nation.
And you don't know the other teams.
No, Optic Nation. I know the other teams. I just feel as if Exile kind of had the best chance because.
Oh, I'm sorry.
He was laughing. I don't know why.
I saw something funny in the chat. Just don't look at the chat right now, Rage. Don't look at the chat.
Oh no!
Don't look at the chat. Just kidding.
Okay, never mind. I've seen it. Yeah, sorry about that transition, but I feel as if Australia, they brought that last year where they just bring this insane play style where a lot of teams didn't really know what to do. So I feel as if that's going to catch the Spanish team, the Brazilian team off guard. In all honesty, Gamers 2, I don't rate them. Sorry, I just don't really rate them as a good team in comparison to the other 2 teams in there. So I don't see them going through. I'm just going to say Optic Nation first and Exile second, hopefully.
Really quick, something I want to point out is if Optic Nation wins this event, and I see people saying hashtag 9 rings in the chat, which you gotta love,
Repeat.
They will have 9 out of the 12 rings in the world, which is absolutely insane. And really, the other 2 would be on FaZe Red, and then the last one would be on Optic Gaming. So that's pretty crazy. 9 of the 12 rings, that's some Dragon Ball Z type of stuff right there, like some Lord of the Rings type stuff. Like, I think when you get to that point, you get like a 5th player on your team, and you just play 5v4 for the rest of your life, because you have like so much power and influence.
Think about it this way. Karma will have made almost $500,000 in 3 years playing Call of Duty.
That's pretty good. That's pretty decent, honestly.
I have a feeling that Bella will be well taken care of.
Yes.
For the future.
Bella's going to have gold diapers. And just keep walking around.
COD Champs onesies. You heard it here first on this day.
Roll up into like, is it
Sorry,
kindergarten?
she's not 18. She cannot attend the event. Sorry.
Oh.
Kindergarten, yeah? She's going to roll up into
right.
kindergarten with like the 3 champ rings like wrapped around her fingers like, yeah?
Yeah.
Should have
Oh
preschool.
my gosh. Oh, somebody took a picture of what Rage is drinking. Fruit squash? What the
Oh.
heck?
Fruit squash.
It's in a can. Anyway,
That
Group
is a
E.
European thing.
Somebody tweeted it at me. Group
I'll
E.
find a picture. I'll find a picture and tweet you that.
Envy, Menace, underrate. I don't even know how to say that. And Mind Freak. I'm gonna go an easy Envy and Mind Freak. Yes, Envy could be upset and get second, but they're definitely gonna be in the top two in my opinion. This guy that produces this show mentioned that Envy might not make bracket play, but you guys can't hear him. He's a silent voice in the background. So I'll start with since Rage may not. Well, Rage, you probably know these teams. I'll let Rage go first. So, Rage, your predictions for Group E: Envy, Menace, underrate TiKS Gaming, UX. Thanks, goalie. UX Gaming and Mind Freak. Who's getting first and second out of that pool? Rage.
I really want to say Team Menace because that was like Team Finland, and Team Finland are amazing. But unfortunately, I don't think they kind of size up to Envy. I think Envy are just that team what with champs, they're just a team what naturally and instinctively is just good. It's like the organization kind of expects you to play well, and it's just a subconscious thing what just means that Envy plays well. I mean, going into the last tournaments, he wasn't always considered to be the best. Like, they wasn't considered to be top two, and then you've always kind of finished top two. So I feel as if that's just going to kind of be on their shoulders and kind of a burden. So I'm gonna say Envy going through. Let me just look at the group again because I've lost it. I'm Mind Freak going to go through because they are like, I think, isn't it like a couple of members of the T1 Daughters are in that team now? So, I mean, they've definitely got the potential. And from what I've seen on Reddit and stuff, Mind Freak are basically looking like the Australian squad right now.
They're good. Yeah, they're good.
So,
let's roll over to Landon Calrissian.
All right, for Group E, it's definitely going to come down to Envy and Mind Freak. I want to point out, Mind Freak didn't drop a single map at the APAC regional finals. Like, they are literally dominant. Like everyone could say, oh, well, they played against these random Australian, New Zealand team. I don't care. That is very impressive. That's the dream right there. That's the hashtag the dream. They look very, very scary from what I've seen. I've only seen them play against these other teams, but they made them look like random teams. Like it looked like they were playing in the 2K with like nine. I don't know, with 9 players. I don't know. Mind Freak, I'm not sleeping on them by any means. I could see them actually beating Envy possibly, but to say that would be crazy because I haven't seen Mind Freak play in the NA teams. So in that case, I'm gonna have to say Envy. But I definitely see Mind Freak coming out of this pool as the second seed. Whether or not I think both of those teams are going to come out of this pool, but Mind Freak, do not sleep on them. They're going to be one of the main teams, I think. So
yeah.
Courage.
I think most people are in agreement here, but I actually have Envy and Mind Freak both being the two to move on, but I have Mind Freak with the first place seed and Envy getting second in the group. Looking at this Mind Freak team, they have who many people regard as Dens, who's the best player, many people say, in Australia. As you mentioned, one of the players that was on that Trident T1 Daughters team. I think the biggest thing for them that they're going to have to keep in mind is making sure they don't go on tilt. We've seen from this team before that they can kind of get either so hyped that it honestly starts to kind of phase them out of the game, or go on tilt where they start going behind and then it's just kind of a roller coaster. Obviously, they did dominate there at the APAC regionals, so hopefully they can transfer that over here because a lot of the casters, at least the Australian ones, are pulling a rage here and saying top 8 for Mind Freak right away. I don't have them in my top 8, but I definitely think they'll move on here. Team Menace, really the other team that kind of can, I think, make a name for themselves in this group. I don't see it happening, though. They wound up losing to Epsilon there to get knocked out at the EU Regionals. It was a 3-0 series. Wasn't really anything too crazy. The reason why their seeding was like so good is because Geff Kid on their team has 62,470 pro points, which is the highest out of any player from that region. So he's been like putting the team on his back, though, and really trying to carry him through here. But unfortunately for them, I don't see how the Aussies lose this one, and I think they finish 1-2, NB and Mind Freak, or vice versa.
All right. So next pool is Group F. We got Revenge. I think, is Pittsburgh still in the chat? Oh, I don't know if he's still in there. So we got Revenge, Aware, Infused without Reedy because he punch someone. And,
So delicate.
and threes up. Now this was a controversial bracket when I watched ESR today. Benson and Mr. X and Puckett kind of all disagreed on the way this was going to end up, except for the number one team, which I'm going to agree with, which I'm going to say Revenge is going to carry this bracket. They've proved that they're a really good roster. They've been playing extremely well online, on LAN, and I'm predicting that especially with who they're playing, that they're going to get number one in this pool. They may go 3-0. The number two is where everybody's confused. I think Infused, without their teammate that they've been playing with and planning to be at champs with, which is Reedy. I know that he's been replaced for the last probably 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. But I still think they're not going to show up in the same way that if Reedy was playing. And I've heard that Threes Up has a chance even at taking number two in this pool. This is I almost don't know what to say, so I'm gonna go with
Threes Up.
Threes Up, even though they're last right now in the global ranking in this pool. I'm gonna put them as second. I'm just gonna go with they're gonna be the sleeper Cinderella that, kind of surprises everybody, and I'm gonna say Threes Up is second in this pool. I'll start with Courage this time.
Rage, I'm going to make you proud. I have Revenge getting first and Aware getting second. I got to cast a bunch of threes up at the event, but I'm going to first let me start off with Revenge before I really get into them. This team, I think, is really going to show up. I think that Nagafen is my player to watch 100%. He loves utilizing that Amelie with the thermal there. He just dominated some Detroit uplink games where he would just sit on the top middle atlas and just kill anything that showed themselves. I think he went like 42 and 24 with Hit One game, and typically it's a situational thing for many people. We've seen Nade use it in Detroit S&D, where he'll hop and watch over on top of the trailer and watch over the back green alley and just spray through whatever is thrown there, and then he swaps off of it or as a secondary to play more aggressive. It's another like situational gun like we see with Parasite with the TAC-19 there on Biolab Hardpoint at certain times. So I think Nagafen is really going to show up there. Also, Aqua and Remy just had great events there at NA Championships too, so they're definitely going to have to transfer that over. In regards to Aware, my boy Petey is going to have a huge event, baby. He's the X factor for this team. You got to watch out for him. I don't know why, but I just have faith in this team. They got top 4 at EU champs. I think they wound up losing to Epsilon? TCM, 3-0 there to get knocked out. But the series was pretty close. Detroit Hardpoint 241 to 208. TCM took that one. Solar S&D 6-4. TCM took that one. And Biolab CTF 5-3. TCM took that one. So, I mean, maybe they just had an off series. Maybe they were a little tired. Maybe they didn't eat their Wheaties. I don't even know if they have Wheaties out there in Europe. So, I think those are the top two. And then back to Threes Up really quick, which I want to talk about this team. I just think that at the end of the day, Khalifa had a great event at NA Championships. He's the player to watch and Search and Destroy. But I don't know if they're just going to show up. I think that there's just going to be so much more energy coming out of the Aware team. Petey's tasted that greatness in North America before, and he wants it back again. He wants to feel that on his heart. So those are my top two. Man, I talk a lot. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Rage.
You're a caster. You're supposed to talk. I like it. It's soothing. You can talk. You can stay in the call afterwards, and you can just talk while I go to sleep because it's pretty late here. So we're good.
Bedtime.
That's pretty. You'll pull your bed out of the wall, grab your 3 cups of juice, and just lay in bed. It'll work out.
Yeah. What is going on? To be honest,
Rage,
Revenge, I can only see them taking first, and I'm gonna have to say Aware. I mean, I don't know much about Revenge in terms of I do Aware. I mean, obviously Aware for me it's kind of that team what are always third, so to speak. I mean, obviously TCM reps are always like the main spotlights on you, and I feel as if Aware's is kind of the team what just sneaks in there every now and again, sometimes gets a final and so on and so forth. And then you got to look at players like JT and Joe. You've kind of just like the players who are there. They're really good players, but the main spotlight's on people like PT and Watson. Obviously, Watson kind of developed that God status on the stream the other day, where Puckett just christened him a god. Watson's one of those players who's, well, to be fair, PT and Watson, both those players are very, I say inconsistent very loosely, but there are players where they can either be amazing players or players who really don't really perform. And if you've got that mindset right, and especially PEP is a player who can drop 50 bombs or can drop 15 kills. It really depends on where his mindset is. And obviously, if Petey's firing off all cylinders, Watson only needs to go average for the team to win. And so if both of them are, mindsets perfectly there, I can only see them finishing second in the group. And I hope they do because, aware.
Landon?
In this pool, or in this group, I keep saying pool, but it's group. I definitely have TR and Aware, and I'll tell you why. I have TR because of how dominant they are. They're like the team that people know about, but like they're like the team of not really known players. Like Nagafin wasn't really known until like these last couple of events. You can just name off the players. Really, they are such a good team. They barely lost to Optic Nation to even get into Season 2. Everyone was really hoping they would get in there. At least a couple. Obviously you have the Optic fans really wanting to get in there. But regardless, TR definitely to me will take this pool. I 100% think that Aware will at least come in second. If not, they might beat TR. Aware, very strong. I actually watched them a lot during the EU regional finals. PD is insane. He can like Rage said, or even Mr. Dunlop said, he can drop numbers. And I know a lot of the guys on Threes Up. Shout out to Hilton. I know a lot of the guys on Threes Up. I just don't see them beating a team like Aware. They're a very strong team. Watson, very good player as well. So I have TR coming in first in this pool, and I also have Aware coming in second. So
I just quickly need to touch on something. I feel as if Pete is one of those players who is he's going to do it. I mean, I made a prediction video and he watched the video and I didn't actually say Aware was going to win. And he said to me, watch, I'm going to win and I'm going to win this game and he's going to qualify. And he did it. So, if his mindset's right, obviously I'm not saying I was the reason as to why he qualified for champs. No, I'm not. But I'm saying
I won't take credit for that, but I'll basically take credit for that.
If you do finish the money, then I'm expecting a 20% cut easily. But but obviously I feel as if that team has a lot to prove, especially like PE, who's kind of that player who Americans know but don't know, as Landon said. And so I feel as if he just needs to kind of grow that Marky B status where everyone in NA kind of knows who he is. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking about. I kind of feel really sad for Infused though. I mean, their team coming into it with Reedy in lineup looked very, very strong. I mean, Dominate and Infused just took it. Dominate and Reedy looking very strong, especially with Quicker and Melon. Obviously, the two kind of additions. Quicker, obviously, a massive YouTuber. He's dedicated so much time into the game. And then Melon, who just came into the age. I feel really, really disappointed for them because, they're playing with Optimized if you don't know, obviously, in the stream. But he's their coach role. And I feel as if I don't actually have any LAN experience at all. So I feel as if now Infuse is just seeing it as a free holiday. And it's really, really disappointing to see because
they're not going to make it.
Otherwise, it would be very, very strong.
Yeah,
they're not going to make it out of pools, and it sucks because we didn't even get to see them play in the winners bracket at regionals because they won one game and then they were disqualified for the rest, and so it's kind of like we didn't even get to see how far they could have gone, how well they could have done, and I mean it's just like the guy that put some ham in Courage's laptop, I mean, You can't just grab people at events, and you might get punched in the face, and then you won't be able to play at COD champs. I mean, it kind of sucks.
One thing to touch on with this Infused team, this is what we were laughing about the other day on that caster call we had. It was you have Quicker, who's like a YouTuber. He was once on Lightning Pandas, all that stuff. You have Op2, who was like a coach as well as a semi-pro StarCraft player. Like that's what he mainly does. You have Dominate, who used to be like a Gears of War pro player for Dignitas like 7 years ago, and he was also the youngest UK LAN winner at 14. And then you have Melon, who's just like an S&D all-star. And
that's the best name though, Melon.
Oh yeah,
T1, T1 name.
Apparently he was the 6th ranked GB player when he was 13 years old. So it's like this ragtag group, and I mean, if they somehow get out of that pool, I will take my pants off.
Forget it.
On stream?
Infused winning champs.
Not on. I'll just take my pants off.
I was going to say, are you going to pull a Scott Gandhi on us? Like,
yeah, no, I want to cast more events after champs. I think I'll say that.
I feel as Melon is a player who's I hope he plays well because he's a player it's his first time being in the major spotlight, so to speak. And I mean, he's played in UK lands before, and I've seen him, and I've managed to cast over him, and I really do know how good he is. So I just hope he manages to bring that and kind of at the world stage to the point where all these American players, all these Australian players can actually realize, hang on a minute, this guy's actually quite good, rather than he's just a name, he's just making up numbers sort of thing. I really hope that people kind of notice how good Melon is. I'm a big Melon fan. I'm not gonna lie, big Melon fan.
Oh, I love melon. Cantaloupe, big fan of that. Watermelon too, very good. Finally, honeydew, but unfortunately for the melon in this tournament, I don't see them moving on.
Is kiwi a melon?
Uh, I don't think so. The last time I had kiwi, I was in preschool. So
Oh, gee.
it's been a while.
Kiwi.
It's been a while. I enjoyed it. I don't know why I haven't had it since then, but as you can see here, packed on a few pounds. Thank you, Xbox 360. So that's really where we stand.
Shout out
at
to
that.
Kiwi.
We should move on before I keep digging myself into a hole.
Don't worry about it. Just go to my stage where you're literally so far down the hole that it's hard to. You can't even see the end of the hole. It's like I'm just in a hole of optic hate and NAs going, who is this guy? So just keep on digging, keep on digging, keep on digging. What's the worst what can happen?
All right, so let's go to Group G. We're almost to the group of death, as it's been called by many.
Mhm.
Sorry, I was talking to my son. All right, Group G. We've got FaZe Black, TCM, Essentia, and Below Zero. I'm gonna go. This is a really easy one for me. FaZe Black, TCM, TCM. Great squad. They've been playing against North American teams. They've been playing in North American time zone for longer than any of the other EU teams.
Exactly.
They're gonna be fresh. They're gonna be used to this, and they're gonna be used to, I guess, this side of the world, so to speak, and playing on this side of the world, and playing against these players and how they play. They've probably scrimmed most of the teams they're going to come up against, and it's going to be easy for them, in my opinion, to get the number 2 out of this. And there is a chance, if they beat FaZe in their matchup against each other, that they could be number 1. But I'm going to say for now that Apathy is going to drop some 50 bombs in multiple hard points in pool play, and FaZe Black is going to get number 1, and TCM is going to get number 2. We'll start with Landon.
Okay. I've actually casted over Below Zero in the past. They're an okay team. They actually lost to another team that I casted. Who actually I can't remember who it was. Anyway, they're not the best team. I don't really know that much about how do you say that? Essentia.
Essentia.
Oh, either way, that team. I don't really know much about them. Knowing about FaZe Black, I definitely have them going through a very, very talented lineup. Obviously, Apathy been turning up a lot lately. Proofy literally cruising through the competition. TCM.
Yeah, I get that reference.
Okay, there you go. TCM, like Kingdom said, honestly, looking at the time zones is going to be a big thing for me. Not just pointing out time zones, but a lot of these teams are going to be playing at an awkward time for them. TCM, obviously, like we said, in Season 2, they're used to it. They're in the flow now. They're basically like another NA team in a way. Even playing a lot of their teams that they might come up against. So I definitely have FaZe Black and TCM as my 2 teams coming out. I'm going to say FaZe Black edges them just a little bit. I'm going to say that they come out and take the first seed, and TCM in the second one.
All right, let's switch over to Rage. Rage.
My mic was muted. I'm the best.
Calling all rages.
I'm going to say that TCM are actually going to top this group. I have a feeling as if, playing as a team together, playing extremely well. And obviously the fact that they're in the league, they're playing against some of these top teams. And they still got that factor of being foreigners, basically. So a lot of people, especially like FaZe Black, for example, they're not going to really understand TCM's playstyle as much as you say it being another American team. Because let's be honest, Europeans and Americans, Australians, they all play differently. And obviously that can sometimes factor as an advantage and sometimes factor as a disadvantage. I feel as if TCM got to top the group. In all honesty, I'm going to say FaZe Black, but I feel as if it's going to be a lot closer than a lot of people expected. I feel if Essentia definitely have what it takes to qualify if they play well, but then again, FaZe Black, looking at their roster, it's going to be a close game between FaZe and Essentia, I feel. But again, TCM first, FaZe Black second.
Ooh. Okay.
And before we go to Courage, what's his name? Censor was on ESR today, and he was talking about their team, and I agree. They're getting along really well. Like, in-game, yeah, they drive each other crazy, but they're having a lot of fun. Like, this team, this roster, is having a lot of fun right now, the FaZe Black roster. That could help them at champs. It could help them get through if they have a bad start or something like that. Like everybody says that FaZe Red might have a bad start, but then they're gonna, do what FaZe Red does and what Aches' teams do, especially at champs, what he's done in the past. And I think FaZe Black is going to be kind of similar to where they might have a bad start, but they'll get it together because of the chemistry that they've built just hanging out with each other. And they're making like YouTube videos where they're just cracking jokes and having fun, on Call of Duty. Not even playing serious. They're just literally dying laughing and doing kind of the kind of stuff that Optic does. Like when they make videos together and they're just laughing and having fun. And so I think this team is going to do a lot better than some might predict. But I do agree with you. There is a chance that TCM could take the pool. But FaZe Black will do well, in my opinion, in bracket play. That's where they're going to turn up. So let's go to Courage for the last before we go to Group H.
Really, this group I have FaZe Black getting first, TCM getting second. What we see from FaZe Black is a lot of people ridicule Proofy for going on those cruises that he does. It's in the middle of March. He knows champs is coming up, but he always goes on those cruises and then steps up and has a good champ. So hopefully for FaZe Black that happens here. I see them taking this one. Sensor is hungry, man. As he said, I was watching ESR before too, and he was on it, and he said, obviously starting off AW so well with that win there at the AW Columbus Open 25K, but then he had Season 1 playoffs, wasn't a part of that, and then the NA Championships, they didn't even play on Championship Sunday because Proofy went away. So he wants to get back at it. He wants to prove that he is still one of the top objective players in this game. Is Study going to have that great champs that we saw from him last time? Hopefully for their sake. And Apathy, he's just the Crim6 Slayer, man. You've seen them go back and forth on Twitter. We'll see if Apathy can continue kind of just finding out how to beat Crim6 in different scenarios. So that'll be interesting. I see TCM taking second in this group. Really no surprise there. That squad looks very good, only losing to Epsilon in the finals there. They lost that series 3-1 to Epsilon, but it was really close throughout outside of the hard point. But once again, really, I don't see how Epsilon should lose hard points there in the European scene, just with their raw slaying power and talent they have on that team. In that series versus Epsilon, they lost the CTF by 1 cap, and they lost the S&D by 1 round. And even the Biolab uplink went into overtime that TCM wound up winning, so really close series versus Epsilon, and I think they're just going to transfer that over here. I think they're easily going to be able to take second in this group. And honestly, outside of that, Essentia, sorry, and Below Zero, sorry. I don't see how you guys move on.
Yeah, the TCM, the one thing that they're probably going to have picked up is uplink, is how to play that game type. A few weeks ago, when I was on the STiKS EU and we were talking about regionals, one of the things that annoyed me is how often they play the drone. It's like almost the second half of every half, so to speak, is them throwing the drone on top of a building or out of the map. And it's like, that's become like, and what I said was an NA team will slay them out, catch it on the respawn, have them spawn trapped, and score over and over and over, and they'll get beat 10-1, 10-2 every half. And so I think TCM is going to have a little bit of an advantage, especially because they're going to be a part of one of these LANs that's coming up, one of the NA LANs. They're with Optic, right? Are they playing at the Optic LAN?
TCM is with Envy.
They're with MV.
Yeah, they're with Envy.
Optic,
so it's
Optic is
Optic is who? Optic
Optic is OG, ON, and TK.
And TK, I'm so mad they're not going to stream that. That would be epic.
Well,
it's really annoying that they've not got a European team.
But it makes sense. But
we're going to talk about it later on that.
Talk about what?
The whole like pre-lands and stuff. Are we going to talk about that one?
It's on.
Okay, good.
It's on the agenda.
I've gone on a rant later on.
I only have like 29 minutes left, so we got to hurry and get through Group H. So Group H is the group of death, what people are saying. And here's the thing, like Fizzerp and Killa and Nameless and JCap and everybody's been going back and forth. A good point was made by, I think it was Killa, that tweeted at Fizzerp and said, can you imagine, or no, it was Fizzerp tweeting at Killa that said, can you imagine if you didn't win that round 11 against SB? You would, like, ON would be in the group of death and SB would be in the cakewalk group. And they would, let me tell you this, SB would for sure be in bracket play if they would have won that Game 5, Round 11. 100%. They would for sure be in bracket play because they're not getting third to Gamers 2, SSOF, and T1. And so...
Yeah, Kingdom, really quick. In that series, they lost 2 S&Ds in round 11. So that's even worse because the game, I was sitting right behind them in that series and watching it live. And not only did they lose game 5 in round 11, but they lost game 2 in round 11 to Optic Nation there. So that definitely hurts them. They had 2 chances to win that series.
And I don't like. I saw Neslo saying some very very delusional confident statements like John is the best player in the game. He said on ESR today. He also said that his team was the best team in the game.
Wow.
Optic is winning right now, but SB is the best. And then when he corrected himself and mentioned Optic Gaming because he knew he was going to get assassinated, he mentioned he basically made it sound like SB is the second best team in the game. If anybody in this call, I don't know about the chat, but if anybody in the call agrees with that statement that SB is the second best team in the game, we'll go to a commercial break and I'll have a conversation with you, and you might not be here.
I was about to say, let me give my group predictions and kind of see where I stand.
However, the reason this is the group of death, and because Fizzerp said to Killa on Twitter, he was like, I'd rather know who I'm playing than not know who I'm playing. The reason this is the group of death, and I responded to Fizzerp, is because there's 3 teams here that none of us really want to see not make it to bracket play. There's 3 teams in one pool or one group that all are good enough to definitely play against the teams that are going to make it to bracket play and could easily replace an Exile or even an Orbit or an AR. Like, these teams are some of the top teams in the world, and the chance that an Epsilon or a TK or an SB is not going to make it is really, really sucky. And so I'm going to not say what I think, and I'm going to start with Courage. I'm going to start.
Right.
I want your opinion on Group H, and then we'll go Landon, Rage, and then myself.
So I'll get right to where I stand on it. I have Team Caliber finishing first in the group and Epsilon finishing second. Strictly Business for me is not going to make it. And I picked them because TK, I think, right now is one of the strongest teams in Call of Duty. I think it was Rick Big Snacks tweeting about earlier today, like, how can you just immediately say, Optic's going to take it, no chance they lose it. And I know he was getting frustrated that people would kind of just, like, throw in the towel or just say that right away. And I think that it's more than safe to say that Optic Gaming are the favored team, but if I had to pick teams that could knock them off their pedestal, the teams that come to mind are Denial, FaZe Red, and TK for me. We saw TK at Season 1 Championships really put up a great fight there, bringing them all the way to Game 5. And I think that was round 11, and it all came down to Nadeshot's call of rushing down mid on Solar with, like, just insane aggression, where they just kind of overwhelmed TK to win that series. So I have TK getting first. This pre-LAN is also going to help them even more. When you're facing a team like Optic Gaming, who obviously has all that slaying power, you need to kind of work around that. And then you face a team like Optic Nation, who can have those quirky play styles with a player like Killa, and also might do more objective style things due to the lacking of slaying power in regards to Killa at times and respawns. So that's an interesting aspect for them. I think Team Caliber easily takes first. Epsilon, my boy Swan Bomb, I have faith in him. I think this team is really going to be the one to watch for EU. I don't know how much time we're going to have left later on, but I actually have Epsilon in my top 8. So that's something. I have a lot of faith in this team. I think they easily move on. And in regards to Strictly Business, Killa was getting real mad with Fizzerp in that series between those two teams because he was using the Thermal Amelie, he was using Danger Close, he was using all sorts of stuff to really try to get the advantage. But I just think we're going to just see better play out of Epsilon, and I think Epsilon's really going to win the respawns, if anything, and take that series 3-1.
Yeah, yeah. For me, I definitely have TK. I think TK has constantly proven that they're a top team. A lot of people regard their placings. The teams that they're losing to are winning the events. Like they've lost to Optic, they lost to Denial, and people are like, well, why did they place like 5th? It's because they lost to like the 2 teams that were in the grand finals. Like they constantly lose. Or not constantly lose, but they've been losing to the top teams. So it's not like they're doing bad. I definitely see them coming out of this group for sure. I think the argument's obviously between Epsilon and SB. I don't want anyone to sleep on SB. I personally, I won't say my predictions yet. SB to me is a team that can literally just come up from nowhere. I think they're what I would consider the wild card team. we've seen who was it? Neslo constantly saying, we have a lot of these strats, we have a lot of these things to bring up that a lot of teams aren't ready for. But overall, I think we might see Epsilon take it. Overall, I think Epsilon's a stronger team. I think when it comes down to it, whoever plays who, I think Strictly Business will kind of crack. And I noticed also in the Nestle interview on the ESR, he said our biggest problem is our communication. And, Fizzer's not the easiest person to get along with. We've seen them and Nestle go back at it, back and forth constantly at times. So based on that, I definitely have Epsilon moving on. I have TK coming in first and Epsilon coming in second. I think Epsilon is one of the strongest EU teams. I think no one can really argue with that. I think they're a dominant team for sure. People would say that I think people can agree this is one of the best EU teams that we've ever seen combined. You just look at all the players that they have, and you can't really argue with that.
Yeah.
I think Tommy's is like one of the winningest EU players of all time with like 22 LAN wins.
Yeah, I think he has more LAN wins than anyone. Yeah, but you could argue not major.
Sorry about that. Just throwing a fact out there, I believe they've actually won every single Advanced Warfare LAN they've attended so far in like the UK and obviously, in general. So just thinking about that just shows you how dominant this team is like within Europe, and obviously just how strong they're playing to win a LAN 100% ratio. It's a good ratio. I'll give them that. But yeah, anything else, Landon? Or
no, I was just gonna say I think we maybe could see a three-way tie. I've seen a lot of people mention that we could possibly see a three-way tie. I think SB on a good day, whichever team shows up, I think SB can beat TK. I think they'll all beat Integral Nation, and they can kind of swap who's going to beat who and whatnot. I think we could possibly see a three-way tie. Do you guys know what happens if there's a three-way tie? Is it a new thing? I heard someone say S&D.
I believe last time it was settled by like single games of S&D.
Yeah,
okay. Some crazy type stuff.
I can remember that was a situation between Envy and Tech and the Australian team, is where like they was all joint first or something in the groups, and I can remember Tech basically getting screwed over because I think they went to round 11 with Envy. I know it was a very, very close series, and it's just a horrible situation with the Tech lineup. I mean, they got knocked out of groups, even though there was a very, very strong team on Ghost. So, yeah, I hope that that's not the format. But again, there's a reason why that's the format. It's the one that seems to be working. I'd assume, it's kind of the only really way they can go about it when you think about it. I mean, obviously, you can kind of look at the series and ratios and so on and so forth, but it's probably the fairest way of doing it is putting it down to a search and destroy.
Oh, yeah. No, that'd be nuts. That'd be nuts.
Optic Nation, Optic Gaming ties their group, and they have to play a search and destroy, and they choke round 11. Internet is just dead.
Imagine how depressed Twitter would be. It would just be like someone died, like someone like Nadeshot literally died.
Someone died.
Rest in peace.
Yeah. Just moving on before we talk about Nadeshot dying, because I'm sure we'll get a lot of hate. Well, direct your hate to Landon. Just don't
do
direct
it.
Your hate at me
Dare
this time.
you?
MLG roster mania.
My predictions for Group H is Goldie's laughing, it's making me laugh, so I'm losing composure. My predictions for Group H, I have a feeling like Team Caliber, obviously, surprise, everyone said it before, are going to top the group. What kind of saddens me, because I want Epsilon to, top the group and win champs. Epsilon, as a result of me having delusional confidence in them, I have a feeling they're going to finish second. I'm really annoyed about this group because I like all the teams in this group. It's like every team I want to do well has just been crammed into this group. So I'm hoping that it just goes to a four-way tie, and then they just, we'll let you all in. But obviously, unfortunately, it doesn't really work like that. So TK and Epsilon are going to be my two teams going through. And Kingdom Soldier is back. Oh, he's not. Never mind.
Hello?
Yeah, guys.
Can anybody hear me?
Yes, hi.
Hello there.
Did we take a commercial break yet? Or are we live?
No.
I was about to.
We will see you guys on the other side of 60 seconds. Have a very, very good day. Hello! Welcome back. Sorry I had to go, guys. My son, his tooth fell out while he was wrestling with his brother. But he's 6, and so he's at or 7, so he's at the age where his teeth are falling out all the time. So it's like a free for all on
Was-
teeth.
Was they reenacting like the Rated and Reedy situation? Boof, boof.
Oh,
Too soon? Too soon? Too soon?
Oh,
Wait until
Well,
after
as long
chance
as-
to make those
hey,
jokes.
there's some things that will never be. You'll never get to talk about them. Like in the Northwest, like where I live, if you talk at all about the interception heard around the world, people get very, very salty.
I'm very
It's-
annoyed about that as well because you
Rage,
gave me very good confidence about Seahawks winning, and so I put quite a significant amount of money on them winning, only for them to lose it in the last second, and I'm blaming you.
Let's see.
You literally call it hand egg. I'm not giving you anything. You call the
Hand egg
sport.
is-
You go hand egg. What is? I don't know.
It,
That makes
yeah.
No wonder
It's-
you lost. It's Rage's
they-
fault.
There we-
Blame Rage.
All right, so I'm gonna. Well, Rage wanted to mention this, so I'm gonna let it. I think Rage had some negative things response to the lands that are going on right now. Rage, did you have a what was that face, Landon? I thought something happened.
I don't know. He's hating
Um,
on Optic, man. I don't know.
Well, look, everybody
it's
calls
really
me
what
an
we hate on
Optic
Optic.
fan, but we have to have an Optic. It balances
That's true.
things out.
Let's be
Right?
realistic. That's the only reason why I'm on this show. Is just so like you can kind of be like, but we're not an Optic fanboy. We've got Rage. It's like otherwise it would just be straight up Optic.
All right, so the EU has there's an EU team now living over here and playing in the COD League. There's also EU teams that participated in the 2K this last week. I believe 3 of them placed top. Courage, you probably know this number. Is it top 8 or top 6?
Oh, what was that again? What'd you ask?
There was,
You're
I think
muted,
there was
Keith. Oh, there.
3 EU teams that placed
Oh,
inside
I'm,
of.
I'm actually not entirely sure. I didn't get to follow up with the 5K.
Okay, I think there for the 2K. I think there might have been EU teams that placed top 6 or 8.
I think it's
And
top
then
8, but I don't.
the 5K was comedic because
But vice versa.
an admin from MLG basically banned TCM from playing, removed them
Well,
from-
I would say remove.
because he said that they were an EU team. He didn't know that they were living in the States, and so and they couldn't get back in. That's the sucky thing. Like they couldn't get back into the 5K, so they just didn't get to play.
Can you imagine his thought on this though? He's like, "What is this EU team just thinks they can just play in 2Ks and 5Ks
Yeah, like,
now?" Like,
that's TCM. Get out of here, TCM. Yeah, it has to
Garbage.
suck. Hopefully he gets in some kind of trouble. So Envy is hosting a LAN against TCM. Optic is hosting a LAN against Optic Nation, which of course Optic and Optic, as long as they have 2 teams, Hex said when he came on the show, they're always going to play a LAN before champs. It just makes sense. And then they're also playing with TK. And so I think this is a good idea. I think it's a good thing for those teams. It sucks that it's not streamed. We can't see any of it. It's not like, maybe they are going to be practicing strats on each other, but that would be weird if you pull out your secret S&D strats, because then you don't want TK to know your S&D strats if you're Optic Gaming or Optic Nation. So I don't know exactly why the streaming's not happening, but I guess what people have said has happened in the past is that when they've streamed games leading up to champs, a lot of people have picked up what they're doing, and especially teams that are really good, like Complexity, e.g., those that one team that has been really good the last 2 years. Impact, people kind of have been watching what they were doing and then try to play against it, or counter it. What are your guys' opinions on these lands? Do you think it's a good idea, bad idea? Should everybody be doing it? Is it not fair? Blah blah blah. Does anybody have an opinion on the matter?
No, Rage. You go ahead. You go ahead, Rage.
No. I'm gonna be here for a while, so you guys want to get your thoughts and opinions before they go stale. You do it, because I've got a list. I haven't got a list. This is a blank piece of paper, but I'm saying it's a list because I'm being very
I have
I don't
12
know,
minutes.
talk quick.
Get out.
You have 12. You have 12 minutes. I'll go really quick. I think this is a very smart move for Optic Gaming because they picked obviously their brother team, Optic Nation, who I think will both improve very much from the LAN. But then also the pick of TK is really smart because while you may look on paper and be like, wow, look at this Optic Gaming team, look at this TK team, all their matches are always close. And what I mean by that is just you have these players on Optic Gaming who are just complete powerhouses, and you have players like Theory who will just not come to mind as the best players in the game, but then go off when they need to, pick up those 2 pieces in uplink, have those insane. He had a ridiculous comeback uplink game there at NA Championship, so I hope to see that more from him this weekend. In regards to the LAN, I know that was in the works for a while. I had heard some rumors about it at the NA Championship, so I'm happy it came to fruition. But we'll kind of see where things go.
Okay. Anybody else? Rage? Anybody? Rage?
Do you want to talk?
Yeah, I'll go really quick. Okay, I think it's a really great idea that they're playing like Mr. Dunlop said, that they're playing against TK. That's honestly they've gone to Game 5 with them before in the past. That's a really good team. It's one of their most competitive teams to play against. People have been arguing why are they not streaming it. It's a great idea not to stream it. I saw on stream the other day. I think it was like Imbos and Nameless. We're talking about. And Nameless was talking about he had folders full of like the streams that he's recorded to look at the team's strats. So there's players out there that will literally be like swamping and just like looking solely at Optic stream. They'll be like watching the replay and whatnot. So I definitely do not blame them for not wanting to stream it. I don't think that they're going to be showing everything, regardless of what people think. We're not going to see the Optic strats. You definitely don't want to see them because they definitely want to keep that under wraps. But regardless, I also want to mention I don't think MV's full team will be at the LAN. Is that I heard someone say that I believe it was Merc and Zuma, I think, are in school. Is it not Merc? I don't remember. It was someone. 2 players won't be at the LAN, so that's something kind of interesting as well. But definitely, like I said, don't blame the teams for not wanting to stream their LANs and whatnot.
Yeah, Zuma tweeted earlier he tweeted back at Robbie because of the whole thing with the with Envy not having NA teams in their pool, and Robbie was complaining that Denial does, and he tweeted back at him, and then he deleted it. But Robbie still of course responded, and then the conversation got a little out of hand with Cap and Nameless. But Rage, what is your opinion on the matter?
Oh, funny you should ask. I feel as if TK, they have their own team house. They're one of only 3 teams, obviously counting Optic as one team. They're one of only 3 teams who have a house, am I right? That's TK, MV, and Optic, yeah? So you would assume...
No. I don't know if you could. I don't know if you could consider FaZe a team.
Oh yeah,
because they've gone there for their own little like pre-set up like playing next to each other things, but that's kind of it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I just feel as if TK. I mean, I understand the reasoning as to why Optic Gaming wants to play against TK, but then I don't at the same time. I mean, they're probably one of the biggest competition outside of FaZe, and obviously, you probably don't want Optic Gaming and FaZe Red in the same house together before champs, because Aches is a king of those mind games, and he'll be psyching Crimsix out and so on and so forth. So I feel as if that's probably a reason to exactly. And I feel as if one of them's either gonna get killed, or one of them's going to, hit them with a reedy, again, too soon. But again, I feel as if... I hate to stop with these jokes. I feel as if, TK probably should have hosted their own LAN. I would be interested to see whether they brought over one of the Australian teams, because I'm not sure what the situation of the Australian teams are. I don't really follow the scene, but maybe if they brought over one of the Spanish teams or so on and so forth, because the thing is 3 out of 4 of the UK teams are already in America, so you're not going to see like you did last year. We've seen Epsilon and TCM both in different LAN environments. So it would have been interesting to see them realize, hang on a minute, last year these Australian teams played really well. Let's bring them over and look at their strats and so on and so forth. It makes sense to me. Again, there's a reason why I'm probably not like in charge of TK and Optic and MV. Probably because I haven't got the right mindset. So I'm not gonna flack them too much because they're doing good. I feel it's obviously Optic and Optic. That's kind of a given. You would have thought that they would. I was expecting Epsilon to come over because obviously, you've got that Swanee link, and obviously Swanee is kind of like the European Optic aficionado. So I feel as if he should really have came over, and I was really I was 100% expecting Prof for Epsilon and both the Optic teams being in a LAN environment in Optic. So I was surprised that didn't happen. Obviously, Embo's being on the Prof team, but again, there's a reason as to why I don't manage an organization, so who knows? It could work, it could not work. We'll find out very, very soon.
I think as I said, it's good. I'm reading the chat. It's just people are just going crazy.
Oh
Talking
my
about
gosh.
Clayster and Formal
Formal.
and who's better and all this craziness. I mean, Clayster did. I think we pulled up the stats, didn't we, Landon? He played like 34 maps
Yeah.
and maintained a 1 point. What was his 1.3?
1.33.
It's 1.33. Yeah.
1.33, and he played 34 maps, which is ridiculous compared to what everybody else played. So he did do good, and I think Clayster is going to do well at Champs. He's going to do really well. Optic Gaming is Optic Gaming. They're the best team in the world, not just America, and they're going to be hard to stop for anyone. So let me, before my time is running short, so I want to make sure that we get to some of these questions from Twitter.
Timeout.
Sorry, I muted myself. So the first one comes from Vivek Gurung at Siri Vive. You guys will see it on the screen. So his question is, who's gonna have the most swag coming out when they get introduced before their games? I'm gonna start with Courage. Who's gonna have,
honestly, I'm gonna have to go with FaZe Black. I think Pruby's gonna roll in looking as pretty as ever. He's gonna look good. You got Sunny's gonna roll up. He's gonna have a Moors in his pocket because he's gonna be sniping in every single match. Sensor's gonna walk up on stage and they're gonna like start an interview with him and they're gonna be like, Sensor, how you feeling today? And he's gonna be like, honestly, Justine, I'm feeling kind of warm, and he's gonna rip off both his sleeves and he's gonna have like tattoos. All the dead he's like slayed, and then finally Apathy's just gonna walk up and he's just gonna do what great things do and just win. Swag.
All right, Landon.
As Ray just put in the chat, I can't argue with that. That's literally, I can't argue with that. But
I was really annoyed
one person,
because I seen the chat and people were saying that, and I was like, "Damn it, you know where I'm going."
I was gonna say Mad Cat. I was actually gonna say Mad Cat. You know, he tripped last year, fell off the stage. I think we might see him. You know, maybe if he tries to fall, play it off. You see those vines where like people like fall and they like end up doing push-ups. I think we might see him, pull off something pretty crazy. So I definitely have to agree with the FaZe Black and whatnot. But I think we'll see Mad Cat pull something off pretty crazy.
I was going to say my cat, but I feel as if now the whole stream have kind of said my cat and you said my cat. I've got to choose something different. I feel as if, Optic Gaming, I feel as if rather than coming from like behind the screen with Optic Gaming, like Nature's going to walk through the crowd like the people's champ sort of thing. Like just throwing around like Optic Nation shirts and Optic Gaming shirts like, all over the place. And then Crimsix will just like rappel down from like a chopper what lands in the arena. It'll be amazing. It's just like, but yeah, again, my cat, he decided to walk on the stage last year with shades on and trip over. So, it's gonna be hard for him to beat that. But I have a feeling that he will, knowing my cat. I feel like my cat and Josh probably has like a synchronized dance or something, so they'll probably do that.
Okay.
I got my own swag. These are like $3 sunglasses. I could snap these in half in a quarter of a second. But yeah, that's my swag.
I'm gonna say Optic Gaming. I think Courage. You probably know this, but I've heard that they have their own entrance to a lot of these events because of how much ridiculous fanism they get. Like they can't.
Optic Gaming.
Yeah.
Who?
I have yet to see that. Now that I've been to a few events, I don't think anyone has any special entrances. I think that once kind of everyone gets there, they find out like, okay, here's a little sneak out area. Because after a tough match, the first thing I noticed was sometimes after a tough match, like some kids will go up and be like, "Can you sign this, please?" And like obviously they love the support, but like if they just got knocked in the losers bracket, the last thing someone wants to do is like sign like your left nipple or something like that.
I just thought about it. What about Optic Nation just comes on with all their rings, just like walking around like, yeah, boy, with like the rings on their fingers? That would be amazing. That would be amazing.
Dope.
That
would actually be dope.
They get to the middle. They get to the middle. They all put like their hands in together with their rings on it, like, and then like
combine.
You feel this energy start, and then Karma puts up his other hand, and the fifth ring comes in, and like there's an explosion. And they just walk out with the trophy.
Lord of the Rings
in a world like a whole
Do you
movie
reckon-
trailer.
Do you reckon there's like a regulation where if all the rings are in the same venue at once, it just kind of like it has to be a certain amount of security guards? Like, yo, these guys have 5 rings. We need double security on this.
Are you kill us his own
The light
security?
pops down from the sky and just shines in the arena because all the rings are in one.
or if you touch rings, just explosions everywhere.
This, I think actually they should do
Goes the
that. They
apparel.
should just walk out and just actually as if they already won. Just like show all their rings, like 1, 2, 3, 4. Like the poses they do when they win it. Like that would be pretty legit. And
The
then
only thing
Karma, like you
about
said,
that-
just come out of nowhere and just show his 5th. And,
Oh, yeah.
Well, Fizz is in the back holding up the big check with like the world championships behind him. He just comes out of nowhere with a massive check.
Which just pops out of nowhere. Here's Fwiz.
All right, next question. Dang. You guys are going to make this impossible to finish. All right, next question comes from Kenneth at Kenny Boy or something. And he said, how long of a streak do you think Optic will go on? And I think he means overall. But if you guys had to guess, let's say this. If you guys had to guess, will Optic drop a single match? I'm going to change his question. And if they don't, if you're going to say they're going to win all the way to the grand finals, how many maps will they lose on their way?
Optic Gaming
I don't
doesn't
care.
lose. Optic Gaming doesn't lose a match, and they lose 3 maps in the whole tournament. The dream isn't a thing.
3 maps?
Yeah.
All right, Rage.
I was going to say 4. 4 was the first number that came into my head. I have a feeling that they're probably going to drop a really soft map to one of these foreign teams, who are from a different region. I feel as if their playstyles are going to hit them hard, and then they're going to obviously compose themselves for the rest. And then I feel as if they're going to drop maps to kind of the teams that you'd expect. And maybe if they match up against it now, they might drop a map. Maybe TK they drop a map, and maybe FaZe as well before they get to the grand final. I have a feeling they're going to drop a map as well. So I'm going to say roughly around 4.
Yeah, I'd say around there. Yeah, I'd say like the 3, 4, 5, maybe even 6. Go crazy 6. I don't know. I think we'll see around that range. They're definitely not gonna pull off the dream. I'm sorry, it's not gonna happen. I mean, if they do, that's insane. Props to Optic. That's literally.
I mean, they
the most
went
craziest
18-1
thing.
at regionals.
Yeah, but this is a different stage. This is a different stage. Yeah, people
It's a bit
falling off the
different.
stage is so crazy. So
So I think they're going to lose 3 or 4, and I think 2 of them. Well, I'll say they're going to lose 5, and 2 of those maps will be drift. Because
oh yeah,
Only 2? Only
Drift
2?
S&D, I think, is going to you remember how much they used to struggle at Detroit S&D? Like they used to struggle on that map, and people used to say that was their Achilles heel was that. And recovery, they lost a lot of Columbus, but I think Drift S&D is going to be they're going to lose that at least twice. That map itself.
Kim
Yeah, we're
Soldier
good,
has
we're
got mute.
Oh, I muted me. Sorry.
no, you're.
Next question comes from Rory Less. At Rory Less. See, Lee's, whatever it says, that's an easy at. And he says, going into the biggest event of the year, what would you consider as Optic's biggest weakness, if they have any? I'm going to start with courage on this.
Honestly, I think you hit the nail on the head. Drift probably will be a thing that could catch them off guard. For all we know, like teams have realized that Drift is being played in the finals, so they just played Drift for like 19 hours straight and just like perfected it. I don't even know. Actually, I'll be completely blunt with you. I don't know a single call out for the map yet, so I have to study that. Then the other side of things, who knows? Maybe we'll see our Lord and Savior Dalashi himself bring out tell someone to bring out riot shields, and out of nowhere we're seeing like an uplink played with like 4 riot shields on one team, and it's like the newest thing that just absolutely dominates them. I don't know. Honestly, Drift could be their only flaw that I see.
Okay. I'm going to skip to the next question, even though that's a good one, but I think...
Oh.
Okay, fine. Go ahead. Did you have something?
Yeah, I feel as if Optic Gaming's biggest weakness is the fact that everyone knows them. I mean, the fact that Nadeshot does day in the life videos where he's going Chipotle and all this stuff, and I believe he doesn't like eating a lot of certain foods, so Aches just needs to figure out where he's going to go eat, slip, the waiter and shit that's left $100. I think bucks is the right thing. And all of a sudden, Optic Gaming has food poisoning, can't compete on Championship Sunday. Aches is 20 times winner. Let's go.
That's a valid point. That's totally. Don't argue with that. That's totally could happen.
Optic Gaming has food poisoning and have to sit out of the World Championships.
I think that's actually a good thing for them. I think that they're at the status of a complexity. I know they haven't won as many blah, blah, blah. Or an Impact where even though you can watch their streams all the time, you can't beat them. And I think they're at that level where they're just they're pretty much at the top of not just their game, they're at the top of the game right now. Even when they slip, they win. And I think it's hard to find a crack in their window, so to speak, to break it. So let me go to the next question. The next question comes from David Atwell at Canada Boy David. And he says, let's say Optic does poorly at Champs, doesn't place top 3. Will they separate as a team or will they stay together? I'm going to say they'll stay together. Landon?
I'll say they'll stay together. I'm not. Yeah, that's it. They're going to stay together. Boom.
Rach?
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, they're probably the best team you can fit together out of 4 players. So that they know that as a team. So they're not going to, leave a team in the hopes that they find a better one because there's no getting better than that team at the minute. So 100% they'll stick together. I just feel like, they might have to go on a Red Bull boot camp to try and sort out some issues or something. But, sticking together.
We already know that there's a $250,000 tournament at the end of this year?
Yeah, exactly.
So why not stay together? They can win that.
Yeah.
So, Courage?
There's no way they break up after it. It's a situation where you go, okay, you know what? Crimsix, we're dropping him. Let's look at who's a free agent. And then you just look at it and you go, oh, Crimsix. Okay, Crimsix, come on back. Like, you're the best player out there. Do the same thing to Formal or Scump, and you're in the same exact position. So no way this team breaks up. If they do, it's because there was a Reedy moment there where some punches were thrown. Rage, I made that same joke, boy. So really, that's the only way I see something break up. Outside of that, though, they have enough Red Bull to survive for the next 4,000 years.
Yes, they do. I watched Nade's video yesterday or today. I don't remember what it was, and I was like, what in the world? Like, this is the most Red Bull I've ever seen in my life. Like, they had Red Bull everywhere in the house. Well, he tweeted a picture of one section. There was Red Bull at the door. There was Red Bull by Crim Station. There was Red Bull by Nade Station. There's Red Bull in the Optic LAN room. I mean, there was Red Bull everywhere in the house. And I've said this. I'm sure I've seen Crim drink like 3 Red Bulls within a 30-minute period while playing online. Like, I mean, I'm like, how's he not
streamed till like 3 years later?
Yeah.
Still streaming.
He's still streaming right now.
It's like like
he's back.
You know how robots use like oil and grease? Like that's Crimsix's oil and grease. It's just Red Bull. It's like he doesn't need oil and stuff like that. It's just down a can of Red Bull.
Wait, you guys didn't know that? That's why he's so good. He drinks so much Red Bull, he actually gets so much energy, he sees the future. So like when an S&D round starts, he's 10 seconds ahead. That's why Crim is so good. He does that at events too. It's pretty
sick. That's so Raven. He like sees
visions. He has visions. Kills using an Amelie. Like, and he like sucks back out of it, like stuff like that.
That's his robot fuel. That's how he keeps that's his robot fuel. All right, last question comes from Aversion at Aversion. Thank you again for an easy at. And he says, could Optic still win?
Oh no!
What happened? What?
No, I just know that this is the question what's literally been like the chat's been fighting over for the last like half an hour. So this is going
to be detrimental. Could Optic still win with Clayster replacing Formal? I am going to start with Landon.
Oh, thank you. I'll make this short and sweet. I'll make this short and sweet. If Clay plays like he did last event, where he dropped a 1.33 KD over 30 plus maps, yes. But I'm not saying in any way that Formal is better than Clayster or Clayster's better than Formal. Don't no one say that. But yes, I do think I'm trying to like watch my boundaries here. Yes. There you go. Yes. I think so.
This is such a dangerous question. Our very special guest, Courage. You're next.
They're both obviously exceptional players. When you have a team that still would be Nade, Scump, and Crim, Honestly, I could probably play on that team, and we'd still place top one every event. I do think I do think they'd still win if they had Clayster, but now to kind of put the vice versa on it, if you now put Formal on another team, well, there's now one of your best teams you're going to be facing. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, he can try to kind of transform that team. You now have that AR. Like, I think that what AW comes down to is if your ARs can hold your lanes and hold the areas you need to. One of my favorite parts that I've ever seen from Formal is on retreat hardpoint, where he'll sometimes switch to that ASM1 for that close corners top bar hill. When they go down towards the bottom dirt, he'll have the ASM1 on and then get killed by the other team's AR, and then you'll literally hear him go, all right, you know what, I'm done with this. You want to play that game? And he'll throw on an AR and then just go on like an 8-kill streak and kill everything. Like, he'll kill everything. Like, the seagulls flying around the map, he'll kill those too. Like, he doesn't care. So you have 2 electric players. Optic Gaming, I think, would still be dominant with either player, but I think the thing that makes Formal so incredible is how consistent of a player he is.
And last but not least, or I'll go to Rage.
I highly rate Clayster. I just feel is on that team with Crim and with Nade. Personalities clash a lot. We've seen it when Crim was originally on. Sorry, when Clayster. It's late. When Clayster was originally on the Optic Nation team, obviously Nade and him kind of clashed a little bit, and there's a reason as to why he got dropped from that EG lineup. I assume Clayster, Crim had some involvement in that, so I think there's going to be a lot of like bashing of personalities. So I just think Formal's the best option for this team, and Formal being the incredibly talented player he is. Not saying that Clayster isn't. I'm just feeling as if the team right now is as best as it can be. So yeah, don't hurt me.
All right, so we're going to close the show out different today. You guys aren't going to get your chance to say whatever you want to whoever you want, blah, blah, blah. Because I got to go too, Jack. I just see you put in the chat. I got to go.
Perfect.
I had to go 10 minutes ago. And so Kingdom Wifey will be home in like 5 minutes. And if I'm still on the air, you guys, you just won't see good things. It won't be positive for me. And so... I'm going to give you guys my 2 cents, and then we're going to sign off. So here's the deal for me. I do not think this team would be successful with Clayster. I think that Clay and Nade will clash the same way that Crim and Nade clash, and I don't think you could have 2 players like that clashing with Optic Nadeshot and then be successful. I think if you look on paper, yes, they would be successful. But we've seen teams, i.e. Optic Nation of the last, 5 months, 6 months, all the rosters they've had, and former Optic Gaming squads. We've seen teams that should have worked not work. I think that Clayster is too dominant of a personality to work with this squad. I think Crim6 and Nade is about all you can take. Scump is going to slay everything. He's going to kill everything. And Scump is going to prove at COD Champs this year that he is arguably the best player that Call of Duty has seen since Modern Warfare 3. Because he's going to have a ridiculous KD, he's going to clutch some crazy stuff, and he's just going to go crazy. It's going to be nuts. And people are going to argue between him and Karma because of Karma's success. That's about it. And Aches' success. But I think that Nadeshot has to be the captain. He has to run the team. He has to run the show. Clayster said that in his video. He said it with a little bit of animosity. He said what Nade wants, Nade gets. What Matt wants on this team, Matt is going to get. And I think that Matt needs to have that say-so. Clayster and Crim would sometimes team up against Nadeshot, I think, if they were on the team together, because they're both really dominant, loud, boisterous players. And so I don't think it would work. I think Formal works well because Formal's that guy that when the whole team starts arguing with each other, when Crim and Nade are going back and forth, Formal will be like, dudes, pay attention. Calm down. We can still win this. Pay attention. There's 3 guys alive. Let's finish this. Like, Formal's that guy that, and he's that calm, Swanee-ish, stand and kill everything I see type of person. And he's like Scump. He doesn't talk too much. Scump gets mad when their team loses and they shouldn't have lost. Crim gets mad if they lose a round that they shouldn't have lost, and he gets pissed, and him and Nade will go back and forth. And I think someone said that the only way this team could ever implode is if Crim and Nade just have a blowout repeatedly, and they can't get it together because Crim is really, he's like a Karma. He's so good, and he knows it, that when his team is losing consistently, he can't take it. It just frustrates the crap out of him. And so I think that that's my opinion. and I'm sticking to it. I don't think Clayster would work on this team. I'm not saying chat whether or not Clay and Formal, comparing them as players. It's almost comparing apples to oranges. Formal has been very successful since he's been in this game. He's won multiple championships, and he's on the team right now that is winning everything. But he won Gfinity before he got on this team. He won the finals of season 3, I think it was last year, before he got on this team. So Formal has been successful. He's proven that. We'll see what his career looks like in a year. But if he wins everything this year, if Optic goes on their run, you'd have to argue about Formal being a more successful player than Clayster. Individual skill, that's debatable. It depends on, what you look at, and game-wise, how good they do from this game to the last game. Clayster was probably better in my opinion, but in this game, Formal is on the team that's beating everybody, so it's hard to argue with that. So that's my opinion. This is your boy Kingdom Soldier. Thank you, Courage, for coming on the show. Thank you, Rage, for coming on the show, even though you didn't have any tea. I feel sorry for you. And thank you, Landon, as always. We will have the STiKS EU coming out on Wednesday morning. Look for the tweets for who their guest is going to be. Make sure you guys get your hands on some of that STiKS apparel. It only is going to be on sale for 3 weeks. We've got a white hoodie and a blue shirt. They're both dope. They're ridiculous. I'll be wearing mine as soon as I get it. Tweet at me when you get it. Use code KINGDOM for 10% off your G Fuel. Use code STiKS for 5% off of your Scuff Gaming products. We'll see you guys next week on STiKS. Peace.